Good evening, Bridgewater.
What's up, Bridgewater?
This is a new podcast featuring Brandon, myself,
and Justin.
We're going to be spending probably about the next hour or so talking all about the NFL. So
there's so much going on in the NFL.
There's so much going on in the NFL. The day we're doing this podcast is the trade deadline. I think it ends in 20 minutes?
Yeah, about 20 minutes. What is it? Yeah, 3:42.
So there's going to be some crazy stuff going on right now. We're through week 8 of the NFL.
All right, breaking news. Dante Fowler just got traded to the Rams.
Why would anyone trade the Rams anybody right now?
For a third and a fifth. So they got some good compensation. Dude, the Rams are going to go undefeated. Maybe. But, with this... We'll definitely get into it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each individual team, spend about 5 or so minutes max talking about each team. We're going to go through the division, start with the 4th place team, then work our way up, and then we're going to go to the next division and so on.
Awesome.
So once again, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Justin.
And welcome to our podcast. This should be a reoccurring thing, so if you like us, please look out for us.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So to start out with, we're going to start with the all-exciting always AFC East.
Oh, gosh.
In last place, we have the 2-6 Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, let's talk about those Buffalo Bills. So did you see the game last night? And how... So, in the game last night, if none of you saw, so it was 9-6 Patriots, and the Bills looked like they were going to come back, and then the Bills in them just threw an interception, pick 6, game over.
Yeah.
So, I think with the Bills, you have your future in Josh Allen on your team. He's not the best quarterback. I still think he needs to prove himself. He is a rookie, but Derek Anderson, obviously, he's not going to be your, what you're going to rely on. So the quarterback is definitely an issue, and I see them having probably a top 10 pick at the end of the year.
Next to Nathan Peterman, Josh Allen probably looks like the resurrection of Peyton Manning.
Yeah, next to Nathan Peterman. He probably won't be on the team after this season. And they gave him 2 chances, and both times he threw, 3+ picks or something like that.
And the Bills had all the offseason trouble with LaShawn McCoy.
Oh, yeah.
LaShawn McCoy had that trouble, which... I don't think he should be ever allowed to touch a football again.
Really?
If you ask me personally, I think LaShawn McCoy is a horrible human being. But
I don't know, man. There's always forgiveness, even for the crap stuff. But we could get into that later. But yeah, with the Bills, obviously they're not just with any of these teams. Maybe the Dolphins. I don't think any of these teams really have a shot to playoffs, or especially the division, because you're in the division with the Patriots.
As far as the Bills go, they have a decent defense. They usually have around right in the middle of the league. But that offense, it doesn't click. They make too many mistakes. They look like this year's Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, they did. they keep getting, pretty good players. They got McCoy a couple years ago in a trade. They got Kelvin Benjamin in a trade a couple years ago, too. And, I just don't think that they just have the players that just mesh together well. So
would you like to go through real quick every team's remaining games as we finish off with them and tell what they're going to win and what they're going to lose as a prediction?
Yeah, might as well.
All right,
might as well just go through teams.
The Bills' next game is Chicago at Buffalo. They lose that. Do you agree?
Yeah, Chicago. Yeah, definitely. Especially when they just got Khalil Mack back, right?
No, not yet.
No, not yet. But once they get him back, we'll talk about that later.
Then Bills at the Jets.
Okay.
That will be probably a slugfest. No one's going to want to watch that. Could go either way. I say that the Jets pull it out, though, because it's in New York.
Yeah. Definitely.
The Jags at the Bills, but the way the Jaguars are playing, who really knows how that's going to go?
And then, yeah.
I still think the Jags are going to pull it off. I still believe in their defense as much as... I don't know. I still believe in the Jags. Maybe not for this year, but for upcoming years, maybe.
Okay.
Bills at Miami. I think Miami's playing decent football.
Oh, that would be a shootout still. I still think it would be a shootout.
I don't think the Bills are ever going to be a part of a shootout.
If they were the crappy team like somebody in the division like the Dolphins or the Jets, I feel like they could possibly, especially when Josh Allen comes back, because I'm pretty sure he's not out for the year. So when he comes back, I feel like they might have an opportunity to at least have a shootout. Not that they'll win a shootout, but they'll have a shootout.
Well, again, I think just because it's in Miami, I think the Dolphins will pull that out.
Okay.
The Jets at the Bills, I don't see the Jets taking the crown on this. I think the Bills are going to pull that one off.
I don't know. I think any of these kind of games where it's in Buffalo and it's against a team that isn't going to blow them out, I think it'll be a close game. And it just, to me, it doesn't look like either team has a full hold on the game. But I think the Jets would actually win that game.
And I think that they lose the next 3 games. You have Detroit at Buffalo.
Yeah.
Bills at New England.
Yep.
And then Miami at Buffalo.
Yep.
So, I have the Bills winning one more game of their year.
Yeah.
So, moving on from Buffalo, we have the 3-5 New York Jets, which we just talked a little bit about.
All right, let's just go with the question. How is Sam Darnold doing this year so far?
Sam Darnold is doing about how you would expect from a rookie quarterback.
From a rookie quarterback.
I don't think...
They need to put people around him. I think that's definitely what they need to do.
The Jets have 0 weapons. Like, who do they have? They don't have anybody.
Robbie Anderson, who got hurt.
Robbie Anderson's injured, so what do they have?
Yeah, they don't really have anybody. I mean, Powell, but I'm pretty sure he got hurt. And then Corral played well a couple of games. He did have a couple of games, especially against his old team, Cleveland. Like, he had a good game, but...
So between the 2 rookie quarterbacks we just talked about, who would you take on a roster first?
Oh, Sam Darnold.
You take Darnold?
I would take Darnold. I think he's more NFL ready. I just to be honest, I like Josh Allen more coming out of college. I like the big arm. I like that he could throw it down the field. That's what I like in a quarterback who can throw it deep. I just feel that right now, I would take Sam Darnold because he is playing better right now. But future, I don't know. It's up in the air for me. Just whether, like, which quarterback can take their team farther in, like, 5 years. And, like, especially with Josh Allen being hurt right now, that kind of puts into my... who's better, because if you have 2 good quarterbacks, but one is always hurt and one keeps playing, like, who would you want more? Obviously, the guy that's not hurt.
Something the Jets have been doing this year, they've been pulling out some shockers. I mean...
They have, yeah.
They had 42 points against Indianapolis. Where did that come from? They had 34 against Denver, which many people thought Denver would have one of the better defenses in the league coming into the year.
Yeah.
That hasn't turned out. They fell flat against Jacksonville. That's probably Jacksonville's last good game, though.
Yeah.
But they were also close one to Cleveland. Cleveland's playing some decent football.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that surprises me most is 48 points against Detroit. Detroit's been playing some decent football. I wouldn't expect them to lose 48 to the
Come on.
Jets.
I think that was the first game of the season.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
The Detroit game, that was week 4.
Was it week 4?
No.
It was week 1.
I'm looking at the preseason, too.
It was week 1.
That was week 1.
So that was more, I think for the Lions, it was more getting together and just seeing how their defense meshes with Matt Patricia's system. And so they're kind of working out bugs, and they kind of did a different kind of system going into their next games, and they played a whole lot better. So that was more of like, okay, let's see what works and see what doesn't. Obviously, whole lot didn't work.
Okay, so let's go through the schedule. Do you have anything more to say? Or...
No, not about the Jets right now.
All right, so the Jets in Miami. This game, both of these teams are the teams that seem to be, they're very unpredictable.
Right. I feel like Miami's more unpredictable than the Jets. All right, I will say this. If Ryan Tannehill's healthy, Dolphins win that game.
It's also, well, that's this week, though. Is he healthy yet? I don't think he is. I think Osweiler's still playing for him.
Osweiler actually hasn't been doing that bad.
He's gotten some lucky tips. Did you see that one, the magnet?
Oh, gosh.
The one that soared really weird?
Yeah, we could talk about that a little bit more.
Okay, this is where I think home field advantage comes into play. The Jets are going to Miami. I mean, it's a decent travel. They're going halfway across the country to get there.
Okay.
I think Miami will still pull that off. Just because it's a division rivalry.
Neither team is great. Well. Kenyon Drake has been playing
really well. Kenyon Drake is playing really well. The Bills at the Jets, we already said that we thought the Jets are going to win that.
Yep.
We have the Patriots at the Jets. There's no way. The Patriots are sweeping that.
Yeah.
The Jets in Tennessee. That's an interesting one.
Tennessee's been so inconsistent. Like, they've had good games, and then... that will be an interesting one just to watch, but I feel think Tennessee will pull it out.
Tennessee still has a very similar team to that. The roster is almost the exact same as it was last year when they went to the playoffs.
It's true.
And they haven't changed any coaching. Their system's still the same, so it leaves the question, what's going on with Tennessee?
Their division got better.
I guess we'll talk about that in a minute, but I think that the Titans will still pull that off.
Oh, yeah.
We already said that. We thought the Bills are going to beat the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
That Houston comes to New York. Houston's playing some good ball.
Houston's on fire, dude.
Houston's on fire. They won that game. They lose the next 2 games. Packers come to New York. And then we have Jets going to New England. They win both those games.
Yep.
So I have the Jets winning, I think, what did I say, 1 more game? Yeah, that's bad. So the Jets, according to my predictions, the Jets are going to finish.
Okay, yeah. I think they'll win 2 more, at least.
You think they'll win 2 more?
Yeah. I don't think they're going to be another top 5 pick. Maybe 6 or 7.
Well, according to what I just said, it looks like they're going to end 4-12. But I don't know.
We'll see. It'll be interesting.
I feel like they're better than that, but looking at the schedule, I just don't know. So moving on, next up we have the 4-4 right at 500 Miami Dolphins. We've already talked about them a little bit.
Yeah.
It's gonna depend on if they're healthy, which ones they pull out.
This kind of reminds me. Do you remember like 2 years ago when the Dolphins somehow got the 6th seed? It kind of reminds me of that year for them. Like when Tannehill was playing real good and then he got hurt and then Matt Moore comes in, plays good enough to get them to the playoffs. I don't think they'll get to the playoffs. Breaking news, Clinton Dix just got traded to the Redskins.
No way!
Yep.
That's the only good defensive player Green Bay has except for Clay.
Dude, that just kind of cements, like, we'll talk about this more with the Redskins, but, like, gosh, they're already 5-2.
I'm happy we're doing this during the trade deadline. That's
yes,
crazy.
Dude, oh my gosh. Anyway, okay, let's go back to talking about Miami.
Back on topic. The Dolphins got off to that torrid hot 3-0 start.
And
then they came in week 4 against New England and lost by 31 points.
I will say they do have some
and then
players.
They lost 4 straight.
We are talking about this season, but I'm just right now talking about their future. Like right now, Kenyon Drake is a bright spot in that offense, and so is Jakeem Grant for them as well. He's one of the better punt returners in the league. He already has like a kick return and a punt return touchdown this year. Mm-hmm. So I feel like he's definitely a bright spot for that special teams for them.
There's still not a lot of, I don't know, Miami just doesn't click as one of those teams that has something special.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll make the playoffs. Cause
they'll go 8. I think they'll at least go 8-8 though. They'll be like that run-the-mill team that will like.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know. I don't feel like this team's special. I feel like the AFC is actually kind of competitive this year for the most part.
Yeah.
The Dolphins, they're either a hit or miss. They have no close games. Every game they've ever been in, except for the Bears game, which they actually won in overtime. I don't remember that. Wow. Yeah, it just seems like Miami's either a big hit or a big miss. Right. So it's really hard to tell. So this week we just said this, the Jets are in Miami. We gave that to Miami.
Yeah.
Dolphins go to Green Bay. There's no way they win that. In Green Bay?
In Green Bay, yeah. I mean, even with the team they had, I mean, Clinton Dix is gone, and so is Tom Montgomery. But, like, the Packers almost beat the Rams. So, like...
They would have beat the Rams.
They would have beat the Rams.
If it wasn't for Tom Montgomery, who's now a Raven because of that. It's hilarious. What do you have, Dolphins or Packers?
Oh, I have Packers. Yeah, definitely have Packers.
Dolphins go to Indianapolis. Indianapolis is another one of those teams that you just can't really predict this year.
I still think Indianapolis will get the win.
I don't know. You know what? The Dolphins are going to win that game.
Okay.
I got the Dolphins.
I have more faith in Andrew Luck.
What do we say for this one? Bills and Dolphins? What do you have for that? Well, we just said that. I don't remember what we said. Bills and Dolphins?
I think we said Dolphins get the win. I'm pretty sure we did.
Oh, by the way, I'm getting all of these sources from NFL standings, and then there's a list, and I'm just going down that list. You click on the team, and then there's their schedule.
Yes. And then all the NFL breaking news is coming from the NFL itself, from NFL analysts and NFL app.
Yeah.
So.
Bills and Dolphins. We said that the Dolphins are.
Dolphins will get that one.
Okay, so we have 3-1 right now so far. They lose to New England because New England's going to Miami.
Nope, Miami gets the win. Come on, tell me about it. Remember last year, Miami just pulls out a shocker win. Like I feel like every year, like Miami has at least like one good game. And it's against the Patriots. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like when like the Seahawks are good and the Rams just kept upsetting them. I think it's the same thing. I think Dolphins get the win.
So far you have them going 4 out of the next 5 games or wins.
Why? I mean, it's Miami, dude.
I just don't think the Dolphins are hot. They're a hit or miss, and they're gonna miss against New England.
Okay.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Say that. Miami goes to Minnesota.
Oh, they'll lose.
They'll lose
that game.
Assuming Kirk Cousins is healthy.
Oh yeah.
Because they got last year they had like the best quarterback trio in the league. Now they have
Kirk Cousins.
Jacksonville and Miami. That could be an interesting one.
I think that'll be a close game that Jacksonville will most likely win, depending on what their defense looks like. I think how you look at Jacksonville will be how their defense looks, but we'll see. We'll talk about them later.
We said that the Dolphins were going to sweep the Bills, right?
I thought we said the Bills are going to win one of those games. I thought.
Okay, so we said Bills over Dolphins in Buffalo. Week 17?
Yeah, sure. Well, let's just say that.
Okay, so we have them what, winning
like
5 of the last 9 games? So that puts them in 9-7, I think.
They still won't make the playoffs.
You don't think they'll make the playoffs?
I don't think so. Not 9-7.
I don't know. They're the most unpredictable team in the league, in my opinion.
They'll either go 8-8 or 9-7. I think. They'll be like one of those mid-round draft picks.
I think the Miami could have potential to possibly be really good in the next coming years if they can stay consistent and get a couple key missing pieces. They
on
have
that defense,
a lot
especially.
to work on defense.
Oh, have so much, especially like corners and secondary.
You have a good running back, Tannehill. I mean, you're not going to win a championship with Tannehill.
No,
but
they have Devontae Parker as well.
To get you the playoffs a couple of times.
Devontae Parker is a pretty decent receiver too.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he's not hurt though.
So there's only so much we can say
about
on
the Patriots,
the best team in the NFL for the last decade.
Right.
6-2 New England Patriots.
I mean, they do. I mean, they're the Patriots, so they are the bright spot, like just of the NFL. Just how consistent they are, but I feel like they have one or two games that they just lose out of nowhere. I feel like that came more at the beginning of the season with the Lions and who was the other team that beat them? The Lions
they lost to the Lions and they lost to
the Jaguars. Right. So like they'll have those kind of games. I feel like they'll have at least one more, and I think Miami will be that game. But other than that, I'm biased. I'm a Steelers fan, so like again that one will be close. But like throughout it, they'll either get one or two. See, easily. Yeah. Just by the way that they're playing, and like even when they've had guys hurt, they've still been like playing really well. Like as long as you have Tom Brady at the helm, like that's it. Like
to go back to what you were saying on about how they lose those games, I think that the way Bill Belichick runs his team, it's almost a necessity that they have to lose a couple of games.
Yeah.
Because Belichick, he's probably the greatest football mind to ever live. So I think in order for him to feel like they need to make a deep playoff run, he has to teach his players how to not get too comfortable. I feel like he almost feels the need to lose a couple of games. I'm not saying he's purposely
blowing. Does that come from when
they
went 18-0 and they lost to the Giants?
Yes, I think
probably
so.
Does.
They get cocky. They are year in and year out one of the best teams in the league. Even though that on paper you wouldn't think that they'd be that good. Yeah, they have Brady and Gronk, but their receivers, especially this year, aren't that great. I mean, you have Josh Gordon, but he hasn't really done too much with New England yet.
I feel like if he makes his breakout, it'll be a playoff kind of breakout.
And then their defense, there's no one that stands out as like, wow, that guy is going to have a great game. It's just true. The way their system is run. They don't have any flashy players. They get people that fit Belichick's system, and they run.
Yeah, that's true.
Belichick is the mind behind New England, and I am one of those believers that Brady is a system quarterback.
Yeah.
Look at what Garoppolo did in New England compared to. I mean, he's injured now, but I still don't think he's shined in San Francisco, despite his record at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't just the way New England is run. They're just inevitable to go deep in the playoffs. Yeah. Do you have them in the Super Bowl?
I don't know because I felt like Jacksonville was that team that could have beat them, but not this year. I'm just being biased.
And the Chiefs
really want to
win in the playoffs. We all know that. And the Steelers can't beat the Patriots head to head.
Yeah.
The Chargers are, I think, the only team. Quote me on this. If New England doesn't make it to the Super Bowl, it's because they lose to the LA Chargers.
I don't think so, but I think it'll be a close game. I think they'll do well in that, but man, I really don't want to say that the Patriots will make the Super Bowl again.
No one wants to,
but it's the hard Patriots, not to say. Man.
You can tell we love the Patriots.
Oh yeah,
we can't hate too much. Okay, so let's go through their.
It's more like a respected kind of hate. Like they are that good. Like we're not saying that it's because they are good. It's like the Yankees or Alabama. Like you want to see them lose because they are that good. Like you want to see somebody come up.
Exactly. So let's go through the remaining schedule. This weekend they have the primetime game. Green Bay comes to New England.
Coming off that loss to the Rams, do you think that Aaron Rodgers can pull this off, or is that Packers defense
Who is Green Bay's running back now? Can you even name him?
Is it Jamal Williams?
I can't even name the guy.
I think
he might be a decent waiver ad for any fantasy lovers, though.
Oh, these trades are definitely...
Number one running back?
Oh, yeah.
I gotta go look on that after this.
Oh, yeah, we definitely do.
So, just because it's on the road, it's two great teams.
It's in Green Bay?
Yeah, it's in New England.
It's in New England? I think New England pulls out...
It's a primetime game, though.
Yeah, New England pulls out a close game. I think Gostkowski will kick a game winner. Probably.
I think that Brady will throw an interception, and I think he'll fumble it once.
Okay.
But I also think he'll toss for 3 touchdowns and over 300 yards.
I think Rodgers will get 3 touchdowns and over 250.
It'll be a shootout. I think it'll be up into 30s for sure.
Okay.
I have New England winning that. What about you?
Yeah, it'll be a close one, but New England gets the win.
New England goes to Tennessee.
Oh, they'll get that
They'll
one.
get that.
Yeah.
We said that they'll already beat. No, you said that. No, this is the game. Patriots beat the Jets.
Yep.
Right. Minnesota comes to New England. That's a different story if that's in Minnesota.
Man.
But it's in Foxborough.
But Minnesota just lost at home to the Saints. So, and the Saints, we'll talk about that later, but I think...
Does New England have the defensive firepower to keep both Thielen and Diggs down, though?
Stephon Gilmore is just an interesting corner to talk about because, like, especially last night, he let guys like Calvin Benjamin and Zay Jones just, like, catch the ball. And granted, he hasn't let, like, guys run past him, which, like, that's who Stephon Gilmore is, but...
On paper, I like Minnesota, but in my head, I want to say New England. I'm not sure where to go on this one. I'm conflicted.
All right, here's what I'm going to say, all right? Quote me on this. That Minnesota will have a chance, and there's going to be a turnover to end the game.
So you have Minnesota.
Losing. They'll have a chance, but they'll lose.
Okay.
I think, that game.
I think it'll be the other way around.
Okay.
I think Minnesota will get the game-winning turnover.
Okay.
I believe in Xavier Rhodes.
Okay.
You said that you think the Dolphins are going to beat the Pats.
Oh, yep, Dolphins.
I think the Pats are going to beat the Dolphins.
Okay.
Patriots go to Pittsburgh.
I really want to give Pittsburgh the win. I really do.
Big Ben has never, ever beaten Tom Brady head-to-head, and they face pretty much every year in the playoffs. I don't see the Steelers winning just because it's the Patriots.
Yeah.
They can't beat the Pats.
All right, I think it is going to be kind of like last year's game, though. Like, it will be a shootout. I think Pittsburgh's defense has...
They'll lose off a horrible ref call?
I don't think it's going to be that. Should have won that game.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I think that whoever wins this game, which I think right now New England will probably win just by the way both teams are playing right now. New England will win this game, but whoever wins this game will most likely lose to the other team in the playoffs. So, like, Pittsburgh might get the win in the playoffs if they play each other.
Interesting thought.
Yeah.
So
or the other way around.
Who you got for this game?
This game I got Patriots. Even though I'm a Steelers fan, I got Patriots.
Pittsburgh? It's in Pittsburgh.
Man, now you're trying to change my mind. No, I still think that New England will probably get the win off the refs.
I have New England because I don't think the Steelers have what it takes to out-coach Belichick. They never have. The Patriots always bring their A game against.
What if Le'Veon Bell came back for this game?
No, it doesn't matter. James Conner's putting up better numbers than Bell. Bell is not coming back for the Steelers. It's not happening.
Okay.
James Conner is that franchise running back.
Okay, I agree.
That's also my fantasy soul speaking because he's giving 30 points a game.
Oh, I feel that, dude.
The Bills in New England, we said the Patriots would win, and then the Jets in New England.
Oh, we said Patriots would win.
So we both had them losing one more game, right? You had them losing Green Bay, and I had them losing Minnesota.
I have them losing. No, I had them winning against Green Bay and losing to the Dolphins.
Losing to the Dolphins, okay. And I have them losing to Minnesota. So I have them going 13-3.
Yeah, we both
You also have, okay.
Yeah, 13-3.
We both have 13-3.
With 13-3, they're going to get the number 1 seed.
So I think that New England will lose to the Chargers in the playoffs. I don't know when, but if the Patriots don't make it to the Super Bowl, I'm not saying the Chargers are going to the Super Bowl. I'm saying that I think they're the only team that has the capability to beat them in the playoffs.
Okay. And I'm going to throw a curveball at you because I know you've been talking about how this other AFC West team can't win in the playoffs. But if they play each other again, I think the Chiefs can beat the Patriots in the playoffs. I don't care what you say. Right. I think Pat Mahomes is playing well. We'll see how he goes.
It was a good game when they played.
We'll see how it goes towards the end of the season because, again, like Pat Mahomes hasn't played like a full NFL season before. So we'll see what his longevity is like for a season. I just think the offense is clicking well. The run defense is playing well. I think it's just their pass defense they have to work on. But I feel like they could get a win in New England.
All right,
so they have the chance.
We spent longer than I thought we were on the AFC East. So we're going to move on now to the AFC West. That's next up. Starting out with the 1-6 Oakland Raiders.
Okay, come on. Let's just say that the Raiders are done with their season. They need to get rid of John Gruden. Maybe not next season, but the season after. They should.
They should, but I mean, he's come in, he destroyed their team. They might as well stick with him and see what he do for the next 3 years or so. If you're going to bring in this legendary coach to tear apart your team, you got to at least see what he's going to do with it. I don't think they're going to do anything with it. But thinking from a franchise mind, I think you got to stick with the coach plan here.
Yeah.
You got to see what he can do.
I don't know.
Even though the Super Bowl that he won.
If I'm just going off history, though.
Dungy's team.
Like, what did the Eagles do after Chip Kelly traded everybody? Nothing.
It took them a while to get back.
Right.
Peterson had to build the team
So
up.
you think the Raiders will be like the Eagles?
Raiders,
and they'll just like get rid of John Gruden, hire another coach, and go to the Super Bowl?
John Gruden is literally Chip Kelly. Literally. It's ridiculous. News happened about an hour ago, I think. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie with the Oakland Raiders, if you didn't know he was a Raider, officially retired. At least he didn't pull a Buffalo and retire in the middle of the game.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so the Raiders, they've lost... Who have they lost? They've lost Amari Cooper, they've lost Khalil Mack, they've lost Cromartie. They lost another big player. Who was it? Or is that it?
No, they were... Well, the trade deadline passed, and they haven't traded anybody else yet.
But was there someone earlier in the year that I'm missing?
No, I don't think so.
Well, Derek Carr officially has no weapons.
I'm trying to think if he does. Like, I'm thinking Seth Roberts, but he's okay.
They have no pass rush at all.
Yeah.
The Raiders, I think their record says it all for them. They've torn apart their own team.
So they get the number one pick. They get the number one pick this year?
No.
Who gets the number one?
The San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
Garoppolo's injured. What's his face?
C.J. Beathard?
C.J. Beathard, yeah. He can't win a game to save his life. I guess we'll see what I think about the 49ers later. Speaking of the 49ers, that's who they play this week, Thursday Night Football.
That will be, I think, a good game.
It's in San Francisco.
Between two okay teams.
It's in San Francisco. I actually, because I remember doing my picks earlier, I think I gave the nod here to the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it to the 49ers.
Even though I think that the 49ers will end up with the first pick, they'll do worse down the stretch. Mm-hmm. But I think that the Raiders lose that game.
49ers, I think, have a defense that can match up with this offense, especially because they don't have any
I agree.
More weapons.
And they've just lost too much recently. They're hurting. They're limping into this game.
Oh, I know what you were. Marshawn Lynch got hurt and he's out for the year. That's probably what you were thinking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Marshawn Lynch is a huge key part. Yeah, so this offense has nobody to stand up to this average 49ers defense.
Doug Martin.
So I had the 49ers winning that.
Yeah, 49ers win.
Chargers come to Oakland.
Oh, Chargers
win.
Yep.
I have the Raiders beating Arizona in Arizona.
I'll give Arizona the win.
Okay. All right.
I think Josh Rosen will pull it off. Throw another game winner to Larry Fitzgerald.
All right. The Cardinals have one defensive player. You can't cover the whole field.
But they beat the 49ers, who we have beating the Raiders. So they beat the 49ers twice.
It all comes back full circle. If that was the case, Cleveland's better than New England, which doesn't make any sense. Okay. Because I really do believe 49ers get the last pick, and that can't happen if the Raiders don't win some games.
Yeah.
So I think that the Raiders pull one out in Arizona.
Okay.
Raiders go to Baltimore.
Oh, they lose that game.
They lose that. Chiefs come to Oakland. They lose that.
Yep.
The Steelers come to Oakland. They lose that.
Yep.
The Raiders go to Cincinnati. They lose that.
They'll lose, but Oakland will probably jump out to a 14-0 lead at half, probably.
So explosive start, bad finish?
Yeah.
They pull in Atlanta? Okay. I think this is the only other game Raiders will win to give them that 31st overall pick.
You're talking about Denver?
I'm talking about Denver in Oakland.
Maybe, but I still don't think so.
Okay. And is this their last year in Oakland?
Yes. They're Vegas next year.
So their very last game in Oakland... No. Yeah, the very last game in Oakland is against Denver. That's their very last home game.
Alright, then I want to give them the win. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think that they hate the city of Oakland. I don't think that they want to go out with a bang.
Man, I like Oakland so much better than being in Las Vegas, though.
I think that it's a poor franchise choice. You can have a lot of players getting into some trouble.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Vegas, distractions, you got crazy people,
Yeah.
Football players.
So what do we got them going this year?
Their last game is in Kansas City.
Kansas City. Yeah, they lose that one.
So I have them winning 2 more games against Arizona and Denver.
I think I have them winning 1.
You have them winning...
Well, no, I have them winning against Denver.
49ers.
And the...
You just said that because it's Raiders' last game, you think they're going to win.
Oh, yeah. So I got
Broncos.
Broncos.
Have them winning against 49ers.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I have
them winning 2. You have them winning 1.
Yeah, because I have them winning against the Broncos.
So, by your argument, you think they're going to get the first overall pick?
Yep.
Okay. I see. So, the Raiders, in my opinion, are going to finish 3-13. You think they're going to finish 2-14?
Yep.
All right. So, moving on. Denver Broncos are at 3-5. Again, this is another team that got off to that really hot start.
3-0.
Well, not that hot. They started 2-0.
2-0?
They really dropped
That was
off after that. Yeah, they've lost. Wow, they beat Arizona 45-10. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Denver, I was a believer.
And Case Keenum?
Well, but I didn't think he'd do that well in Denver. He's doing about as what I thought he would do there.
Okay.
Because Denver's offense just.
Do you think that
haven't
their
been anything
defense
since.
would make up for it?
Hmm?
Do you think their defense would make up for it?
I thought so. I really honestly believe, because I actually picked up Denver's defense in fantasy, I thought that their defense was going to be in the top 3 this year.
I don't know. They lost some of their secondary, though. Like,
Just
I'm not saying that Talib is their secondary,
looking at
but...
paper, I thought Denver not only had the starters to be top 3, but also had the depth. So I thought if players went down, which they have, I thought that they would still be able to pull it off. They haven't. They haven't looked the same. They have given up more than 20 points in every game but one. So,
yeah.
Denver, I don't know. They're just not what I thought they would be. I think that they'll miss. I mean, of course, they'll miss the playoffs. They're in a pretty tough division.
I mean, they just traded Demaryius Thomas, so what does that say about their season? Like,
what does that say about Emmanuel Sanders' franchise value?
Oh, he's so good, dude. Like, I'm mad that Pittsburgh got rid of him. But, like, 5 years ago. But even then, though, yeah, he's good. And they just drafted Courtland Sutton in the second round. So, like, you knew at least either Sanders or Thomas was going to be out. And then Sanders just goes off this year and has a great season. So, I don't know. It was just kind of a surprise to me because Denver was like, oh, we're not going to trade Demaryius Thomas. Like, he's our franchise wide receiver.
And Miller's still healthy. I don't see him finishing the season under 12 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll still propel that defense to a couple of wins, but I don't think that they're going to finish 8-8. I think they're going to finish below 500.
Yeah.
So, schedule. You have Texans going to Denver this week. Texans are fire hot. They've won 5 straight after starting 0-3. Mm-hmm. I think that Texans pulled it off in Denver. What do you think?
Yeah, Texans pulled it off.
Broncos go to LA. They lose that because the Chargers are also red hot. Steelers go to Denver. I actually see them being a sneaky game, but I see Steelers pulling it off.
Yeah, we'll pull that off.
Broncos go to Cincinnati. They lose that as well.
Yep.
Here's where I think that they start turning their season around a little bit, but too little too late. They go to San Francisco where they win.
Yep.
They have a visit from the Cleveland Browns. I think that they pull that off. I think that Miller will tear Baker Mayfield apart.
Yeah, I think the Browns are already kind of tearing themselves apart with just the way their offense is.
We'll get to them in a minute, but they fired their entire staff.
Yeah, except Greg Williams, which the defense was the only thing that was gone for them. We'll talk about that when we talk about the Browns.
And then I had Denver, we said earlier, had Denver beating the Raiders.
Yep.
You had them losing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Week 17, Chargers go to Denver, where I believe they lose that as well.
I think they'll win. They'll get the... I mean, depending on how the Chargers do the rest of the season, I think the Broncos will just pull off, like, a last-game win. I think the Chargers will already have, like, 5th or 6th seed knotted up, so there's not really anything that they would do for that game. So I think Denver gets that win.
Interesting. All right. So we both have them winning, what, 2 or 3?
2 or 3 games, I think.
Yeah, I have them winning 2 more.
Okay. I think I have them winning, like, 2 as well.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
So they'll finish probably about 6-5 wins. Not that great.
So they'll still get, like,
they'll have a decent draft spot.
Oh, yeah, like, low teens.
Denver will not do anything until they fire Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph is a
first year,
horrible
right?
head coach.
It's his first year, right?
No.
A second year?
It's his 3rd year, I think.
3rd year?
I think so.
I thought it was his first. Wow. This tells you how...
I don't know if it's his 2nd or his 3rd.
Okay. Yeah, but...
One of the 2.
Yeah.
But it's not his first year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on, we have the 5-2 LA Chargers. This is a team I'm excited to talk about.
Okay, so here's the question, and I guess we could talk a little bit about the Chiefs with this too. Do you think this division's up in the air? I mean, obviously it's up in the air because you have 5-2 and 7-1. The Chiefs are 7-1.
Chargers have a pretty easy schedule. The Chiefs, I think, are the better overall team. That's depending if the Chiefs do their seasonal imploding on itself kind
have
of
the
thing.
Chargers and Chiefs played each other yet? I don't think they have. Or maybe they did once.
Yes,
they did once.
Played week 1. The Chiefs won 38-28.
Okay, so still a tough game, close game.
I think that the Chargers won't win the division. I think the Chiefs will get that division.
Okay.
I think they'll get the 5th seed in the playoffs, and I think that they'll make a deep playoff push. I think they'll fall. Prediction time.
Okay.
The Chargers lose. I don't know to who yet, but they lose in the AFC Championship game.
Okay. If they play New England, they beat New England.
I think that they'll play New England in.
So what you're saying is, if they play New England in the championship game, they'll lose.
Okay. Well, if they're not playing New England, let's go with this. If they meet New England in the championship game, the Chargers win. If they meet anybody else, they lose. Bold prediction, but I am guessing. I am firm on the fact that the Chargers will be New England's downfall this year. I am firm in that belief. Please don't lay it down. I think Phillip Rivers is probably the most underrated quarterback in the NFL.
He deserves a ring, dude.
Year after year, he is definitely top 7 skill-wise.
Mm-hmm.
He might not put the numbers, but he doesn't have the stats. He has Keenan Allen, which hasn't done much this year, but he's still a top 10 receiver. That defense, they're not flashy, but they're good enough.
Yeah, Melvin Ingram has been good for that defense.
Melvin Gordon, I think, is one of the most underrated running backs in the league.
I think he's one of the top 5 running back in the NFL. I mean, he's played consistently. I mean, obviously, like his first
who would you have
season.
in front of him?
Who I have in front of him? Oh, he can't include Le'Veon Bell right now. I mean, he is a top 5 running back, but I'm just talking about this season.
Yeah, I'm talking about active players.
Active players?
You have James Conner. Yeah, Zeke.
James Conner.
Todd Gurley.
Zeke, Todd Gurley. Do you put Kareem Hunt there?
Yes, Kareem Hunt goes there. What do you think about David Johnson? He's not doing much this year, but he's still very skillful.
I think he's below Gordon.
You think he's below Gordon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. Just the way that they play this year, I think it will change. Like once the atmosphere and like they get
when
players.
Healthy, what about Devontae Freeman?
Because he's not healthy.
No?
He's not.
I
don't think he's healthy for a year.
What's his face? Names escape my mind. Brain fart. Saints running back.
Alvin, come on.
Alvin Kamara. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I put him in front too.
Okay. Yeah. So like he's like 6 or 7 then. In the
yeah,
NFL.
he just missed with the top 5, but he's definitely an underrated running back.
Oh, definitely is.
He puts up the stats. He puts up the money. So prediction time.
Yep.
This week they're in Seattle. I think they pulled it off.
In Seattle?
In Seattle.
I think Seattle pulled off the win, dude. I honestly
You think Seattle pulls off the win?
I think.
All right.
I think that I don't know. I've seen that like I was just kind of like doing my homework for like just looking for players off the waiver wire. I know one of the Seahawks wide receivers has gotten like 10 plus points past 3 weeks. I was talking about how like
Tyler Lockett's having a good year. He's done a touchdown almost every game this year.
Yeah. So it was talking about how like Los Angeles, how the Chargers have like they let deep balls in and they let touchdowns in from wide receivers, fantasy wise, but also that plays into the game as well. So I feel like it could be a shootout, but Russell Wilson somehow. I mean, it's Russell Wilson. He'll somehow find a way.
Seattle's defense can't stop anything. They got rid of Richard Sherman. The whole Legion of Boom is gone.
Yeah.
Forget about them. They're gone.
Yep.
Who cares? Like, I think the Chargers win that 38-28.
I think Seattle wins in overtime with a field goal.
Overtime. All right.
Yep.
Okay. We said that the Chargers are going to beat the Raiders, right?
Yep.
We said that the Chargers are going to beat the Broncos.
Yes.
Arizona comes to LA. I think the Chargers win that.
Chargers win that game.
Even though home field advantage for the Chargers isn't much because they're still playing in a minor league soccer stadium. I think that's hilarious. By the way, the move to LA, in my opinion, the worst relocation decision in sports history.
Oh my gosh, yes.
San Diego was home for the Chargers. I don't know why they did that. I hated that decision.
They have less fans in Los Angeles than they did in San Diego.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They also don't have a stadium. They don't... It was just a horrible decision. If they were going to really move like that, they should have just renamed the team, just do it all.
Yeah.
But whatever. I think it was a horrible decision. So I have them beating the Cardinals.
Wait.
They come...
Do you think there could be an LA Super Bowl this year?
I think it's possible. I'm excited if it is.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
Dude, what if it was in LA? Chargers and Rams in LA.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that'd be
Super
awesome.
Bowl's in Atlanta this year though.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. That would be the Super Bowl of Super Bowls. The Chargers come to Pittsburgh. That's a good game. That is a good game.
They lose.
Mr. Steelers fan over here. I don't know.
They lose. I'm sorry. It's in.
Oh, that's a tough game.
I want to say like it's in Pittsburgh, so obviously Pittsburgh is gonna win. But like we lost to the Ravens at home, and we were talking about New England. So like,
I have the Steelers winning that too.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just seen like San Diego, Pittsburgh. Usually Pittsburgh gets the win in that rivalry.
LA.
Sorry. I just love it.
I have them winning that or losing that.
Okay.
Cincinnati comes to LA.
I think Cincinnati will lose that game.
I think Cincinnati will in a very close possible overtime game.
Yeah.
Chargers win that. The Chargers lose in Kansas City. What do you think?
It's
It's a primetime game.
Is that like Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night?
I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's prime time.
It's the 13th. If any of you want to look, it's on the 13th.
On the 13th, okay. Oh man! Right now, on this show, I've been giving like some teams that look like they're not gonna win. Like I've been giving a lot of upsets, and I really am tempted to give LA this game, but I'm gonna give it to Kansas City.
You can't do too many upsets.
I know.
Just the right amount of upsets.
That's the right amount.
I think Kansas City wins that game. Baltimore comes to LA.
I think LA gets that one. I think their offense can match up well against that defense.
All right, I'm gonna say.
You gonna give the upset to Baltimore?
See, the way this is going right now, they're gonna finish 12-4. I don't believe that. I think that they're an 11-5 team. I think they dropped their last 2 games.
No.
I think they're to lose their. Wait, hold on.
No.
No, they're not losing their last 3 games. Wait. Yeah, okay, they beat Baltimore.
Yeah.
Then they're in Denver. I see Denver pulling it off. Wait, what did I say?
What did we
earlier?
say? I think you said Chargers win.
I did,
right?
didn't I?
I think we both said Chargers win that game.
I don't remember what we said. Why can't I remember that? All right, I guess I said the Chargers are winning that. I see them as 11-5, but my math says 12-4.
I think they'll go 12-4 as well.
All right, I don't think that
they'll get the 5 seed.
The record shows. I think that they have potential, but all right. So moving on, the 7-1 lightning hot Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City,
lightning hot. They're looking really good right now.
I mean, if you guys listen,
even they should have won. They almost won that New England game.
Yeah.
And they also lost to the 49ers. No, they didn't. Just kidding.
No, they didn't.
I got that wrong.
They lost to the Patriots. That's it. Right? They're 7-1.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm thinking. Yeah, this is a very close team to being 8-0, but classic Kansas City. You start red hot, you finish kind of slower, and then you lose first round in the playoffs. That's classic Kansas City. People are saying different quarterback, he knows all Alex Smith, but yeah, Mahomes is great. But I don't think it's a quarterback problem. I think it's a coaching problem.
But look how Alex Smith is doing with the Redskins, though. Like, he's still doing pretty well.
Yeah, Alex Smith is a good quarterback. I don't think that Alex Smith isn't perfect in the postseason, but I don't put all the blame the last 5 years, losing first round of the playoffs, on one player.
Defense? I think that the defense...
I don't think that by changing one player, you all of a sudden become the best team in the NFL. Yes, you are the regular season masterminds, but it is a coaching problem. It's an inner problem. Mm-hmm. I don't think they might win a playoff game, but I think that they're going to put a
at least one playoff win. So they'll most likely get the second seed.
I think they might pull off their first playoff win.
Yeah, so that means you would say if they got the second seed, they would go to the AFC Championship. Okay. It's just that secondary, though. Without Marcus Peters.
That defense is weak. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not a horrible
They're good
defense,
rushing,
but it's not a good defense.
They got a good rushing defense. That's what I've seen. Just in that, and the stats show that as well.
And Mahomes right now, Mahomes is reminding me a lot of pre-ACL tearing Deshaun Watson. I think he's playing a lot like Deshaun Watson was at the beginning of last year.
Okay.
I think he's a great quarterback. I think he has weapons around him that make him look better than he is. I think he's definitely a fantastic quarterback. Again, speaking as a fantasy guy, he's on my team. I love him right now.
Oh, yeah.
Kermit the Frog, I think that he's really going to shine with Kansas City in years to come.
Oh, yeah.
I can't really talk about consistency yet because anyone can play great for 1 year, but I think with Tyreek Hill, and then you have Travis Kelce, arguably the best tight end in the NFL.
And then you have a great back to hand off to, and Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I mean, Chiefs, I think they're probably the most explosive offense in the NFL.
Definitely. Okay, maybe the Rams are right there.
No,
Rams are right
really.
there.
I'm talking about well-rounded offense.
Well-rounded offense?
I think that Chiefs have it. The Rams are good because of Todd Gurley.
You're right. I think if the Vikings had Cook back, I think I would give it to the Vikings. Like, at least close with the Chiefs.
The Vikings have been struggling. They scored under 20 points a couple times this year.
Yeah. I think turnovers is big for them, too.
All right, so let's move on to picks, because we're taking a long time on this. They are in Cleveland this week. They win because it's Cleveland, and the Chiefs are toward hot. Arizona comes to Cleveland. Again, they win because they're toward hot. The game of the year. The game of the year. The Chiefs come to L.A. to play the Rams in primetime. The game of the year. This is going to be a 40-something to 30-something kind of game, a shootout for the ages. I'll get to the Rams in a minute because I have my predictions for them. The Rams win this game.
Yeah. I think the Rams
I think that the Rams win this game.
They also win this game. I think they're defense can just outplay. They can't outplay the Chiefs offense, but I think that, I mean, it's Todd Gurley, like you said, like he's not all of their offense, but I do think that the Chiefs defense, like, they can't just match blow for blow.
Mm-hmm. I don't see them finishing 15-1. The Rams are a great team to lose to.
Yeah.
No shame on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Rams are a fantastic team. Maybe redeem yourself from the Super Bowl. You're not going to make it to the Super Bowl,
right?
But maybe. The Chiefs come to Oakland. Said that they're going to win that game.
Okay.
Baltimore comes to Kansas City. The Ravens have a decent defense, but I don't think it's enough to stack up against this torrid hot offense of the Chiefs.
Yeah,
So,
I think Chiefs get the win.
Pull that off. What did I say about this? Chargers come to Kansas City. I think I said Kansas City wins that, right?
You said Kansas City wins.
Because it's in Kansas City.
I think we both said Kansas City.
I am a firm believer home games matter in tight games.
Okay.
Chiefs go to Seattle. Upset time alert. Seahawks beat the Chiefs just before the playoffs to kind of bring their ego down. They finished the season 13-3.
I'm gonna give Seattle the win against the Chargers, but not against the Chiefs.
Okay.
Not against the Chiefs.
They win last week against Oakland.
Yeah.
So we both have them 13-3.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent spot.
That is exactly what I would put this Chiefs team
and
at.
If they are 13-3, I mean, they'll get the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh. Okay.
So moving on to the AFC North, your division, my boy.
Oh my gosh.
Starting out,
talk about the Browns right now.
Starting out with the 2-5-1 Cleveland Browns.
Oh gosh.
This is a team that I thought they were actually might have started to turn things around, and then all of a sudden,
all those like overtime games, 4 overtime games already.
Yes, 4 out of their first 7 games were overtime, and almost every single one of them came down to the last play. They cannot make a field goal. It's not just Zane Gonzalez. They have missed a crunch time field goal in almost every game this season.
And then the field goal that they made.
Even the overtime game field goal that they made to win the game, I don't remember who it was against, but it had to be blocked into the field goal post.
Yep.
They cannot make a kick. It's hilarious. The Browns kicking team is right now is my favorite thing. They cannot win a crunch time kick. It's hilarious. But Hugh Jackson came in. He doubled his career win percentage just this year. It says something about this team. I don't think he's a good coach. I think he's terrible. He is second worst ever head coach win percentage ever, in front of only old Eagles owner and head coach. I don't remember his name right now, but he is the only coach that has a worse win percentage, and he couldn't be fired because he was the owner as well.
Right.
I don't think that firing him mid-season like this was necessarily a great idea, nor their offensive coordinator. I don't think that was their problem. I think Hugh Jackson should have been fired at the end of this year. Wait till the end of the year. What do you have to lose? Don't dumpster fire yourself when you finally have a rookie quarterback, Baker Mayfield, who's decent. You don't want him learning a whole new system halfway through the year.
Right.
It's too much stress on this team. They're finally changing things around, I think.
Their offense definitely was the problem. Did you know that the Browns have the best turnover differential, +10, in the NFL?
10?
In the NFL right now.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
+10.
Yes. Like, look it up. Like, the Browns have
That's
+10,
insane.
and they're what, 2-4-1, 2-5-1?
Huh. Didn't Mayfield just throw 2 interceptions last week?
Yeah.
Huh.
But their defense gets turnovers, and then like all the other teams that are behind them with turnover differentials, I think like their average win is like their record is like 4-3. So it's just crazy.
Yeah,
you have the best turnover differential in the NFL, and
it's not like they're getting blown out every week. I mean, last week was the exception, but they're playing very close games. I mean, they got destroyed by the Chargers, but they've been in so many overtimes. They've lost by a field goal in every single one of their losses, except for the Chargers and the Steelers. But this is a very interesting team. I think that firing their head coach and offensive coordinator with a rookie quarterback was a horrible franchise decision. Yes, they're not great coaches. Just wait till the end of the year so your quarterback can get used to the system. If they're trying to make him a franchise quarterback, which is what Cleveland's been looking for the last decade,
he's their biggest chance.
Decision.
He has their best chance.
Exactly. Even though I'm a believer in Tyrod, I like my boy Tyrod. I'm a Hokies fan. I
thought they should have traded him. They would have gotten something for him.
He shouldn't just ride the bench. But too little, too late. Trade deadline's over officially. So,
if we got traded back to the Bills, oh my gosh, that'd be so funny.
That would be dirty.
That'd be so funny.
The Bills did him wrong. All right, we really have to hurry up because we've been doing this like 40 minutes. We got 2 divisions. So, the Chiefs in Cleveland, they lose that.
Yep.
I'm a Falcons fan, so Atlanta's going to Cleveland. I said at the beginning of the year, back when I thought Atlanta was going to have a great team, I said that Atlanta always loses the games we shouldn't. I know my team better than anybody. As much as this hurts me to say, the Browns beat Atlanta.
No way. Wow.
I'm a Falcons fan. I think that the Browns beat Atlanta. I said at the beginning of the year, back when I thought we were going to be good, back when I thought, we're going to go 13-3, 12-4, but I still think we're going to lose to Cleveland because that's what Atlanta does.
I think Atlanta will get the win.
We shouldn't.
Atlanta will get the win with the Browns missing a game-winning kick.
I hope so. I would laugh so hard. All right, Cleveland goes to Cincinnati. They lose that.
Okay, yeah. I see
Cleveland goes to Houston. They lose that.
Yep.
The Panthers come to Cleveland. They lose that.
Yep.
Cleveland goes to Denver. We said that they lose that as well earlier, right?
You said that, yeah.
Cincinnati comes to Cleveland. They lose that.
Upset time. Browns get the win. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
I
mean, we have them lose a lot of games. I see that.
Get the one.
It's possible. It's a division game,
Yeah,
it's
one
a
win.
home game.
One win.
All right. And then to finish out the year, they go to Baltimore. Where they
Baltimore
lose that.
gets that win.
I agree with you on the Cincinnati thing. You make a good point.
Yeah.
I think that they win 2 more games against Atlanta
it's the
and
Ohio,
Cincinnati.
It's the Ohio rivalry.
Yeah, Ohio rivalry, They win at home, they lose away. Makes sense.
I got them winning just that game, though.
So
you got them winning against Atlanta.
You have them at 3 wins. I have them at 4 wins for the
year.
Okay. Moving on, 4-4, right at 500. Baltimore Ravens, a very confusing team, if you ask me. I don't know what this team is up to.
Because of Joe Flacco, I'm telling you, dude.
See, 1 week they pitch a shutout against the Titans, 21-0, and then the next week they lose to the Saints, 24-23. A fantastic game, and then they get destroyed by the Panthers, who are a worse team than the Saints by 3 scores.
Yeah.
They beat Denver by heavily. They beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
Right.
This is a very confusing team.
They're not consistent. I still think their defense is a top 5 defense in the NFL.
And as the end of week 7, which was last week for us, Joe Flacco is 5th in passing yards, and he has no weapons.
John Brown is stepping up. I will tell you, John Brown. I was watching this. It was either a video or a post or something, and it was talking about how somebody came up to if somebody came up to John Brown in a grocery store or something, they wouldn't know his name or who he is.
Mm-hmm. I think Alex Collins is definitely worthy of a starting spot too. I think he's proven himself as a pretty good running back.
Yeah.
So
they just traded for Ty Montgomery, though.
Yeah. Will he start? Who gets to start? Montgomery or Collins?
Alex Collins.
All right.
You can't just.
I think Montgomery will be a 3rd down running back. I don't think he'll play any this week. I think he's got to keys to the system.
Yep.
He just came off a horrible Green Bay loss. His confidence is rock bottom. He's at the new team.
I think
I don't think he sees the field this week. I think he takes the field next week as a 3rd down running back, knowing the system.
I can see him getting a couple plays in, though.
Yeah, maybe at the end of the game if they're winning or losing by a lot. If it's a close game, then no.
Who do they play this week?
The Pittsburgh in Baltimore.
Oh, that's right.
Who do you think wins that, Pittsburgh or Baltimore?
Man, I want to be biased so bad. So I am.
I said Atlanta's losing to Cleveland, so all cards are on the table.
We'll get to that when we go to Pittsburgh's games. But I just can't see Baltimore winning 2 games against Pittsburgh. I just can't. Even though I am a Steelers fan, just as an NFL fan, I don't think I could see Pittsburgh losing twice, especially how well Pittsburgh is playing right now. So
it's in Baltimore.
But Baltimore won in Pittsburgh.
John Connor is hot. Roethlisberger's looking better.
The defense is looking a whole lot better than they did.
Juju are still healthy. That team, on paper, the Steelers should be great. Whether or not they are is up for debate. I might change my pick on that. I originally said Baltimore, but I think the Steelers might be able to pull that one off.
I think Pittsburgh would definitely pull it off as well.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh wins that game. Cincinnati comes to Baltimore.
Man,
I don't see them losing the 2 division rivals back to back.
I don't see Baltimore losing twice to Cincinnati because remember they got blown out. Yep. I think the last time they played.
Yeah,
but that was in Cincinnati though.
They lost. It wasn't blow. 34-23. It wasn't.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't see them losing
Baltimore.
2 home games. I also don't see them losing the thing. So
yeah.
I go Baltimore on that one.
Okay.
Oakland comes to Baltimore. They lose that.
Yep.
Not Oakland. Baltimore comes to Atlanta. Good game. They lose that.
They lose to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. That's not just me being biased. I think they lose to Atlanta.
Okay.
I think as long as Atlanta stays healthy, we'll have our bye week this week. We're resting up. We're still not going to have our defensive stars back that we're losing. But I just don't think Baltimore's offense has the resources to keep toe-to-toe with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. And Devontae Freeman should be back by then.
Okay.
So I think Atlanta's offense just keeps a quicker pace than Baltimore does in that game.
I can see it. Yeah. I'll give
Ravens go to Kansas City. They lose that.
Yep, we said that.
Buccaneers come to Baltimore. They win that.
Yep.
Ravens go to LA to see the Chargers. They
Did we say they lose?
Yeah, they lose that. Wait, did I? No, I said this is the upset, I think. Did I? I don't remember.
I don't think so, dude.
I don't remember what
we gotta write this stuff down next time.
Yeah, next time we're gonna have this more organized.
Gotta have a whiteboard.
And then they win last game of the year to they beat Cleveland in Baltimore.
So what does that make them?
We have them losing 3 more games?
3 or 4.
We have them losing to the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. Yeah, we have them losing 3 more games.
No, we have them losing to Atlanta instead of instead of LA.
Oh, then I have them losing 4 games. Yeah, so I have them right at 8-8. Which I can see.
That's right.
8-8 or 9-7.
Yeah.
I think they'll be right there. So moving on, surprising team.
Cincinnati.
5-3 Cincinnati Bengals. This team is questionable. They have Andy Dalton, which I think is the Joe Flacco. He's not a great quarterback. He's average. You're not going to win a championship with this kid. They're like the Chiefs. They cannot win in the playoffs. So if they do make it, they'll one and done.
I will tell you this, though. It would be hilarious, like we were talking about last time. Like, it would be, hilarious if the Chiefs and the Bengals played in the playoffs.
I was saying earlier, if the Chiefs and the Bengals meet first round of the playoffs, do the Matrix just break? Just the game never ends?
But
neither team wants to win.
I will say this, though. Joe Mixon has stepped up for this team. He's not top
flashy, but he's getting the goal line runs and giving the touchdowns.
And then A.J. Green's A.J. Green. Tyler Boyd is stepping up on that team.
A.J. Green is looking like a top
5 receiver?
I want to say top 3, but I got to think more through it. I mean, he's looking like a top 3 receiver, but really he's a top 5.
Yeah.
I've always believed in A.J. Green. I think he's consistently one of the best receivers in the league. He's like Larry Fitzgerald. It just sucks to see such a good player to waste away on such a crappy team.
Yep.
So, I don't know. The Bengals, I think that their organization is dirty. Vontaze Burfict is still somehow employed. I don't know what to think about this team. So, let's just go to the schedule.
Okay.
This week, they play the Saints in Cincinnati. I think they lose that.
Yeah, Saints will get that one.
Bengals go to Baltimore. I said that they win that, or they lose that.
They lose that, yeah.
They beat the Browns in Cincinnati.
Yep.
They beat Denver in Cincinnati.
Yep, we said that.
They lose to the Chargers in LA.
Yep.
They beat the Raiders in Cincinnati.
Yep.
They beat the Bengals in Cleveland. Or they beat the Browns in
yes,
Cleveland.
Yeah.
And then they lose to the Steelers in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty easy because we've already said all this except for the Steelers game.
Yeah.
So that puts them about 9-7, I think.
I think that's enough to get a 6th seed. Right?
They're in the 6th seed right now, but they're also 5-3. Looking at the other teams, this team gets the 6th seed and they pull a classic Cincinnati and they lose first round because Marvin Jones is still their head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 9-7, 6th seed. Next up, your boys. I'll give you the mic on this. 4-2-1 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me tell you, our defense was atrocious at the beginning of this year. Usually it's our secondary, but our run defense just couldn't. Especially the Chiefs game broke my heart. Just because you score. I don't remember how many points we scored. How many points did we score against the Chiefs in week 2?
Week 2 against the Chiefs. Eagles lost 42-37.
Yeah, so you scored 37 points and then still lose 42-37. So
I can't believe, because we were talking before the Pittsburgh-Atlanta game that this is going to be highest scoring game ever.
And then Pittsburgh
my team
comes
flat and puts up 17 and a garbage time touchdown.
Yeah. So I think our defense
games stress me out.
Our defense has gotten better. TJ Watt, I think he's the best player.
Star.
Yep. Best player on our defense. I think Morgan Burnett is playing well on the back end. One guy I don't like is
Hayden?
The back end. As our safety. He's doing pretty well as a safety. Hayden is our best secondary player though.
Yeah.
Artie Burns is Artie Burns.
If you guys had someone to play opposite of Hayden, if you guys had a decent corner, forget about it.
Yeah, dude.
That other corner's weak though.
Oh, Artie Burns?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Artie Burns because
He's not a starter. He's definitely not a starter.
I mean, come on, dude. His last name is a pun. Like, he just gets burned all the time. So,
yeah.
not saying coming out of college, he looks so good, and like he played well last 2 years. Something just didn't click. So, I'm hoping. I mean, as a fan, I hope that he plays, well. But I don't know if it's a system or what it is. But I really kind of hope that he does well. But again, I think Sensabaugh is our other corner, and Sutton, and I think they're right now at a better place of fitting in our system.
I think Steelers was definitely a team that started out really slow. Everyone thought that this team was kind of done. Roethlisberger's done, but they're coming out. Roethlisberger's looked better.
Mm-hmm.
He went from throwing 4 pits in a game to no pits and 5 touchdowns.
That happens.
Like that.
That happens almost every year, though. You think about it last year when we played Jacksonville, and everybody was like, they just lost to Jacksonville.
And then Jacksonville. Good.
Right. But then they're like, Pittsburgh's barely going to make the playoffs, so they're not going to make the playoffs at all. And then we go on like a 6-game win streak or something like that last year. So it's almost every year for us. And it's just for some reason, our defense just like somehow every year likes to have a slow start. But
okay, so
let's go to these games.
I hate to cut you short on your team, but we've
let's
spent
go
a
to
lot
these
of time
games.
talking to the AFC. So
yeah,
we have Steelers in Baltimore. We have them winning that.
Yep.
Panthers come to Pittsburgh. I have them winning that.
Yeah.
I think the Panthers are overrated. Steelers come to Jacksonville.
That's a game I'm worried at.
Jacksonville just is looking
as a fan,
bad.
but it's Jacksonville. Like every time we play Jacksonville, we somehow don't win, even when Jacksonville is stunk. So I want to give Pittsburgh the win in this one. But
will Fournette be healthy? It's 3 weeks. I think Fournette might be back. I'm gonna say this: if Fournette is back, you lose. If Fournette is still injured, you win. It's going to come down to Fournette.
I don't know, man. They still have T.J. Yeldon and Carlos Hyde, too.
Yeah, but neither one of them. I don't think Carlos Hyde's barely gotten a touch since he's been there.
I know.
He's definitely gotten single digits still, and he's been there for 2 games.
Yeah, I'll give Pittsburgh the win on that one.
I'm a hold firm if Fournette is back.
If Fournette's back.
Steelers lose that game.
Okay.
Because it's in Jacksonville, too. Steelers go to Denver. They win that.
Yep.
L.A. comes to Pittsburgh. They win a shootout.
Yep.
They go to Oakland. They win that.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots are in Pittsburgh. They lose that.
All right. Is this next game a Saints game?
Yeah. In New Orleans.
Pittsburgh loses that game. Saints are hot right now. Saints are really hot right now.
Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh wins that game.
No, I don't think they do.
Pittsburgh wins that game.
I
think that the Saints are also overrated.
Really? I don't think so.
I'm also a Falcons fan. I'm a little biased, but I see the Saints twice a year, so I watch them play a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They're overrated.
I think they are.
So I have them winning that, and then they win Week 17 against Cincinnati.
Okay.
So
you got them losing one
more
to Patriots. I have them losing 2.
Yeah.
So
they're going to finish this year off.
They have 9 wins. So.
12-3-1. All right, I can see that.
Yep, 3rd seed.
So moving on, last division of the AFC South. Last place. You would have never said it at the beginning of the year, but last place is 3-5 Jacksonville Jaguars.
Gosh.
Because they've lost the tiebreaker.
I just like seeing like all of the trade for Teddy Bridgewater, trade for this quarterback, get Tyrod Taylor, get these quarterbacks, and I'm like, yeah, well, your defense hasn't looked that good either, though.
They have Jalen Ramsey, but again, one player can't play for himself.
Yeah, and I just don't. I'm not a huge.
They're also, but you're also.
I'm not big of.
Your defense is going to give up points.
Yeah.
When you have an offense that can't keep the ball.
That's true, and I'm not a huge fan of Ramsey just going and saying that he's better than some of these receivers.
He's funny though. He's kind of funny.
He's kind of funny, but I'm just not a huge fan of that. And then seeing their defense not play as well, and then just him getting mad because of what he said, it's just not. I'm just not a big fan of that.
Imagine a healthy Fournette and a better quarterback. What this team could have done.
Hey, Jacksonville should sign Colin Kaepernick.
No. Get out of here. I think Kaepernick is a horrible quarterback. I said it when he was playing. I think
he hasn't even gotten a chance to go to another system, though. How could you say that?
I think that the year he went to the Super Bowl was a complete fluke. He did that with Alex Smith's team. Alex Smith got robbed of that starting position. That defense was stellar. They propelled him forward, and then he fell flat. If you watch him play, just him, he overthrows receivers, he underthrows receivers, he makes horrible decisions, he doesn't hold on the football, he tries to run too much, he's a cocky player, he does it all for himself, he doesn't play to win. I think that he plays a lot like Cam Newton, just a little less better. Like, Cam Newton's a little bit better in all those aspects. I think Colin Kaepernick is Cam Newton, but worse. So if you put all those things, I think Colin Kaepernick is maybe a backup on half the teams in the league.
Okay.
I don't think he's...
I just want to see him come back and play as a starter, and I want to see him prove himself. Because, I mean, come on, he's not playing. You can say all this stuff about him because
I'm not
he's
even
not playing.
talking about the controversy going around him. I'm talking about him purely as a player. I don't like him as a player. I said it before the controversy happened. I'm not even going to put my input in that because there's no use. But I said it before. I was like, I don't like this kid. He's too much like Cam Newton, just worse. Okay. It's just, I didn't like him before. I don't like him now.
I think he should have a second chance. That's just me. But.
Well, I mean, Baltimore offered him a pretty good contract, and he said no.
All right, let's just go through the schedule.
Let's just go through the schedule. So Jacksonville is
in Indianapolis?
They're in Indianapolis.
Have they played Indianapolis before?
Not this year.
Not this year?
No. I mean, nah. They have Indianapolis.
Both of those games will be interesting to see.
I think they could go 1-1. I think that the Jaguars won at home. So I think that they lose in Indianapolis.
I think it'll be flopped.
They lose to Pittsburgh the next week.
Yep.
They beat the Bills the next week.
Yep.
They beat the Colts the next week after that in Jacksonville.
Yep.
Or do you think they're going 0-2 against Indianapolis?
No, I think it's going to be flipped. That.
You think they'll win?
They'll win in Indianapolis and lose in Jacksonville.
Okay. All right. They lose in Tennessee.
Okay. Well, in Tennessee, wow. That'll be not a shootout, but I think it'll be a close game that somebody at the end will come out. But yeah, I can see it.
They lose to Washington in Jacksonville.
Yep. Lose to Washington.
I said that they beat the Dolphins in Miami, right? I said that earlier? I think the Jets pulled it off. Yeah. And then they lose to the Texans week 17 in Houston.
Yep.
You agree with that? All right. So we have them, and then keep it up at 6-10.
That's not. I mean,
I think this is a team that has potential, just not this year.
Yeah. So do you think at the end of this year, they're just like, even though they gave Blake Bortles a huge contract and everything, that they're just. I think the fact that they benched him shows something.
I think that they need to listen to their fans, and just not stick with the Bortles era. He's a decent backup quarterback. You know, you can count on him if a starter goes down and maybe win 2 or 3 games. But I don't think that he should be a starter for this team that has so much potential. This is the youngest team that have more like young players under 25 starting for their team than any team in the league. It sucks to see them wasting away with such an imbalanced leader at the helm.
Well, they just traded away Dante Fowler, who was a 3rd overall pick. I think 3 or 4 years ago, and he wasn't the glue of that defense, but he was still a big part of it.
Oh yeah.
And so you trade him away, that shows you something. So do you think that Jacksonville drafts a QB this year, or get somebody in free agency, or do you think stick with Bortles maybe 1 more year, maybe wait for a quarterback to come? Because unless Jacksonville gets a top 3 pick, they're not going to get an elite quarterback.
I don't think Jacksonville's going to draft a quarterback because I don't really like any of the quarterbacks in the draft this year. Really.
The one out of Oregon.
Yeah, but.
That's good.
I think that you said something earlier kind of stuck with me. I think I can see Tyrod fit this system.
Yeah.
I think I can see Tyrod come in, lead this team to a win,
10-6?
1 win in the playoffs. Yeah, 10-6, a win in the playoffs. Nothing really more than that. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with him, but it's a great way to get your team some experience until maybe you find a more permanent replacement.
Mm-hmm.
I think next year, they should possibly look into trading for Tyrod for free agency. I can see the Browns just letting go of Tyrod.
I can see that too. Maybe getting another backup that's not as much, money cost.
Okay. So on to the 3-5 Indianapolis Colts. I like Andrew Luck. He's finally back from his 2-year injury. I think he's a good quarterback. I think Jack Doyle is a good tight end.
Okay.
I think T.Y. Hilton is a top 10 receiver. They don't have a running back, and they don't have a defense.
Wait, they don't have Marlon Mack? Marlon Mack's been looking pretty good, man.
I haven't seen enough of him to really tell me that they have a
Who did they play last week and the week? A couple weeks he's had good games. Who did they play?
Beat the Raiders last week by a pretty hefty amount. And then before that, they just destroyed the Bills. Yeah, they're on a 3-game win streak.
But who did they win?
No, 2-game win streak. They lost to the Jets.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I just want to see him
37-5.
I want to see.
And then they beat the Raiders 42-28. So
I think Marlon Mack has a lot of potential to be their number one guy. I mean, come on, he's shown really good flashes the past 2 weeks.
This offense has been very high scoring. They have yet to score under 20 points a game.
What?
No. Okay, against the Eagles, they put up 16. Every other week there, they put up more than 20 points. Against the Bengals, they put up 23. The Redskins, they put up 21. They beat the Redskins. The Redskins were looking really good, and then they beat them. This is a very unpredictable team. They lost a close one to Philadelphia. They put up 34 against Houston in overtime, but Houston came out with that. They put up 24 against New England. They put up 34 against the Jets, 37 against the Bills, and 42 against the Raiders. This offense is very undercover. Andrew Luck is looking good. I can see them winning a couple of games. They're not going to make the playoffs, but they'll be right there. And I think that next year they'll be a playoff team if they can fill in some of the holes on defense.
Yep.
And
I think that's been the problem, though.
Horrid offensive line.
I'm pretty sure like last 3 years that's been
they have
their
some
problem.
holes. If they can fill the holes, maybe not. Okay, maybe not next year.
But
2
a couple
years.
2 years.
If they can keep Andrew Luck around and healthy, I think that they'll come back and be a competitor again.
Okay, let's go with the schedule.
So we had them going 1-1 against Jacksonville both ways.
Yep.
Titans come to Indianapolis. I think that they win that.
Yeah, we haven't gone over the Titans schedule, so they'll win that game.
Titans
okay.
Next, yeah. We have the Dolphins beating the Colts, right? That's a good game.
Yeah, I feel like we do have the Dolphins beating the Colts.
Colts and Jags again. Colts come to Houston. They lose that.
Yep.
Dallas comes to Indianapolis.
Dude,
It's hard to predict Dallas.
I think Indianapolis get the win, dude.
If there's a team harder to evaluate, it's got to be Dallas. I cannot tell what they're going to do. 1 week Zeke will get 20 rushing yards, and the next week will get 150 and 3 touchdowns. It's like, who are the Cowboys? What's their identity? Will Amari Cooper be a part of the system by then?
Yeah.
Will their coaching finally get it together? They won't. Their coaching is terrible. But will their defense step up? Sean Lee, will he be healthy? There's multiple factors to include in on this.
Right.
I think that the Cowboys pull that one off, though.
Right. Yeah.
They beat the Giants in Indianapolis.
Okay.
You just saw something.
Yeah, I just saw. It's not a trade or anything, but you know, Kyle Lauletta, the backup for the Giants, who I think should get a start at some point. He just got arrested for a traffic incident. So.
A traffic incident or a trafficking incident?
It said traffic. Just said traffic incident.
Okay.
On NFL.
Does traffic and trafficking are different?
No.
All right. And then week 17, they're in Tennessee. Do you think they could go 1-2 against Tennessee, or do you think they pull it out 1-1?
We already went. We already talked about this. We talked about that. No.
No, week 17. They play Tennessee twice.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think they'll get the W against Tennessee.
You think they get the dub?
Yeah. In Tennessee?
In Tennessee.
Yeah.
What about in Indianapolis, though? Do you think they win both of them?
Nah, I don't think they'll win both.
Okay.
I think they'll split it.
Okay. So, moving on. So, they'll put the Colts about 6 or 7 wins.
That's good for them, though.
Yeah, I can see that. Right around Jacksonville. That's going to be a tough competition to see who gets last place in that division. Next up, we have the 3-4 Tennessee Titans. They had that early bye week. That sucks. So, this week, they're in Dallas. I see them losing that.
Yep.
They lose to the Patriots.
Yep.
Both times.
Both times?
I said that they're losing to the Colts both times as well, right?
Right. You mean, you said Patriots. Did you mean Texans?
No, Patriots.
They only play them once.
You're right, yeah. Sorry about that. So, yeah, New England's coming to Tennessee. New England wins that.
Yep.
Tennessee goes to Indianapolis. I have them losing that.
Yeah.
They're going to Houston. They lose that. The Jets are coming to Tennessee. They win that.
Yep.
Jags are coming to Tennessee.
What did we say?
How do I already not remember what I said?
I'm pretty sure we said they'd split it. So
yeah.
Tennessee wins one of those games.
Well, they've already played once.
They already played?
Yeah.
Did Jacksonville win or did
they won 9-6? Wow. Yeah, I think Jags won that one. They're in New York against the Giants.
Okay. I think Tennessee wins that
one. Yeah. They lose to the Redskins in Tennessee.
Yep.
And then they lose to the Colts in Tennessee.
Yep.
Okay. So we have them winning like 2 more games. That puts them at 5 wins, which is last place in the division. Do you think that's right? Do you have them last? They had the early bye week. They have no more breaks.
Oh, man. That's close, but yeah. I think they'll get last or second to last.
Okay. This is a playoff team last year, too, and I just said earlier they have the same roster they had last year. Something changed.
Something clicked.
Something clicked. Yep.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the division leaders.
The Red Hot
5-3. They started 0-3.
And they won 5 games in a row.
They won 5 in a row.
And they just traded for
Under the
Demarius
radar
Thomas.
completely. They just got Demarius Thomas aside DeAndre Hopkins. And Will Fuller just got injured. That's why they got
That's
Thomas.
why they got Demarius
That's
Thomas.
why they got Thomas. That's smart.
That is real smart.
What do you know? They're in Denver this week.
That's hilarious.
What do you know about that?
That's
wow.
hilarious.
This is a playoff team. This is a 1-win playoff team. I think that they win a game this year in the playoffs.
Okay.
Or lose. I don't know. That's going to depend on who they're playing. I like this team. I think Watson's an okay quarterback. I don't think he's all the hype is lived up to be. J.J. Watt's having an MVP year after really struggling with injuries. He's still coming back and destroying the league. J.J. Watt is my favorite non-Falcon player in the league. I think he's a great guy, great player.
Okay.
He's everything that a football player needs to be.
Okay.
He's a great leader. Hopkins is one of the most explosive receivers in the league.
Oh, yeah, we've seen that this year.
Watson is somehow magical out there. He pulls some Fitzmagic off. So, they're in Denver. They beat Denver.
They beat Denver.
That's hilarious that they're against Denver and they just traded for Thomas. Will Thomas play? What do you think? Do you think Thomas will get the ball or do you think he'll be learning the system?
I don't know, bro. He doesn't have to leave Denver.
What if Thomas has a 100-yard game?
That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy. They're in Washington. They...
And that... Wow.
They lose that.
They lose?
Because their upcoming games are pretty weak. I don't see them going like 8 in a row.
Yeah.
They lose to Washington.
Okay.
They beat the Titans in Houston. Agree? What do we say about that? We said that, right?
Beat the Titans in Houston? I think we said, yeah.
They beat the Browns in Houston.
Yep.
They beat the Colts in Houston.
Okay.
They beat the Jets in New York.
Yep.
The Texans in Philadelphia.
They got to lose to at least one of the NFC.
I think that they go 11-5. I think they lose to the Eagles.
That's it. Eagles just got Golden Tate.
Game. Well, how much is that really going to change, though?
Okay.
I think that the Texans, I think that they lose that because I don't see them going any better than 11-5, but who knows? And then they beat Jacksonville week 17 in Houston.
Yeah.
All right. So that's 11-5 division winners. I think this team is going to be pretty interesting to watch in years to come.
Yeah.
Moving on to the NFC.
Finally.
Do you have anything more to say about the AFC?
Other than that, the teams that are leading their divisions are going to win their divisions, I think, right now.
I agree. I think that goes in with all the divisions in the league. So, the NFC, the better conference, if you ask me.
All right, where are we starting?
The NFC East, starting with the 1-7 New York Giants.
They're going to get the number 1 overall pick. I'm sorry. They are.
Yeah, we didn't even think about that earlier.
Nope.
I said the 49ers.
About the 49ers
I think it'll be the Giants.
It's going to be the Giants, Raiders, and 49ers.
This is going to be Manning's last year. They get a quarterback in the draft.
He'll still play next year, I think.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. He'll play a couple of games. It'll be like when he came in.
They showed last year when they benched him for that 1 week that they don't believe in him, and he's not really showing that they should this year.
Yeah. I forget who their starting quarterback when Manning came in, but they did that, like, first couple of weeks, whoever their starting quarterback was, played, and then Manning came in. I think that's how it should be for most, like, rookie quarterbacks. Like, you know, like, it's not going to be, like,
Who's
you're about to go.
Now? Is he anybody?
Colorado.
So, let's just get right to it. The Giants, not much to say. OBJ, yeah, woo. Mr. Temper.
Come on. Let's talk about the highlight of their season, though. Saquon Barkley. Come on.
Yeah, wait a minute. Of course. Saquon Barkley. He is a top 5 running back, and he's a rookie.
That's true. We didn't even talk about him in the top 5 running backs.
Yeah. He's better than Gordon. He's better than Melvin. We were talking about that earlier. He's better than Melvin.
Yeah.
Barkley, he's just a first year. I feel like he reminds me a lot of Kareem Hunt from last year.
Okay.
He's explosive. He's quick. He's agile. He's smart.
He can catch the ball.
He has elusiveness. He's a ball catcher. It just, they have a top 5 receiver and a top 5 running back. But yet we're saying that they're going to have the number 1 overall pick. How does that make sense? You got to look. This defense and this offensive line. This offensive line for the Giants is one of the worst offensive lines I have ever seen. It's so bad. They let Atlanta The Falcons, which have 0 players on defense, get 4 sacks. There's no excuse. No excuse. This team with the top 5 running back and top 5 receiver, this team and a Manning, like, it doesn't matter who it is, he has the last name Manning. They should be winning games, but they're not.
It's that defense. I think with them, I mean, they traded Eli Apple and they traded Damian Harrison. So they're kind of like, man, the season's over. Let's just get a top draft pick. Let's get either a quarterback or a defensive player. I don't know how that really is going to work out, but I think it should be a quarterback, though. Manning's up there in age. And,
All right. Let's just get the schedules.
Yep.
They lose to San Francisco. In San Francisco, we said that earlier.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did.
The Buccaneers come to New York.
Bucks get the win.
The Giants get the win.
No, Ryan Fitzmagic is magic, dude. He's
Ryan
starting
Fitzmagic
again,
is either 5 touchdowns or 5 interceptions.
It's true. I still think
Of course, it is the Giants.
They'll get the win, dude.
Do the Buccaneers have the players to stop OBJ and Saquon? They have Quan Alexander out. Both those top 2 linebackers are injured for the year.
What, David's out too? Levante David?
I think so.
Okay.
I know Quan is.
Yeah, I don't think Levante David is.
I think he was injured.
But he'll be back by then.
Yeah.
And then they have Joe McCoy.
I like
Vea.
the Giants matchup on this. I don't see them going 1-15. I think that this is going to be one that they pull off. I think they beat the Bucks.
Okay.
They lose in Philadelphia.
I can see it.
They lose in New York to Chicago.
Yep.
They lose in Washington.
I can see it.
They lose to the Titans in New York.
Yeah, I think we said that, yeah.
They lose in Indianapolis.
Okay.
And then they lose to Dallas Week 17 in New York.
It's in New York. I think that'll be the one game the Giants win.
Well, Dak isn't great against New York. You might be right.
All right. I just think that...
I agree.
That rivalry.
It's a rivalry.
Yep.
Dak is horrible against New York. 3-13 Giants.
I say 2-14, but yeah.
Wait, who else did you have them listen to? Oh, you had them beating the Bucks. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. The 3-4. What to talk about the Dallas Cowboys? How do you evaluate this team? I don't understand. So
beginning of the season, you could see it because half their offensive line was hurt. Like, I'm pretty sure Travis Frederick is still not there. And
they just fired their offensive line coach, too.
Yeah.
Which is really weird because they've been known for, like, the last 5 or 6 years to have the best offensive line. So, I think that they fired the wrong coach. Their offensive coordinator is the one they should have fired.
Yep.
He doesn't belong near a football field. He shouldn't be around a football field.
Okay.
They fired the wrong coach. I think it's going to hurt this team even more firing the wrong guy. They're going to be stuck in a rut, not moving forward very much.
Yeah.
But
they did trade for Amari Cooper. Trading for Amari Cooper doesn't really, like, it makes sense because they need a number 1 receiver, but maybe a first-round pick wasn't.
But the team's hard to figure out. Their week 1 was their lowest scoring game on both sides. They gave up the least amount of points, and they put up the least amount of points. They lost 16-8 to the Panthers.
Right.
And then every other team after that has put up more points. They beat the Giants in a very close game,
right?
20-13. Expected, it's a rivalry. They lost to the Seahawks by 2 scores. They beat the Lions by 2 points. And the Lions, I think, were coming right off beating the Packers that week. Mm-hmm. I think so. So that was kind of a surprising game.
Yeah,
so everyone expected the Cowboys to lose that, and then I think after turning around after the Panthers and beating the Giants, with people still think at that point that the Giants are going to maybe make a comeback, and then they lost to the Seahawks.
Right.
And then they lost to Houston, which is when Houston started to get hot, but that was in overtime. So Dallas really put up a good fight against a hot team at the time. And then they just come out and completely tear apart the Jaguars, 40-7.
Right, that was crazy.
Comes out of nowhere, and then they lost a close game to the Redskins. So it's like, except for the Jacksonville game, they've
lost close games. Won close games.
Yeah, they've been in every single game that they've played in this year.
Right.
It's just they're not getting the games to go their way, and I think that they're having internal problems now in the franchise, and I think they're going to start going downhill because of that. Yeah. I think they're going to start losing games by a little bit more of a margin. I think they'll win a couple ones by barely, maybe another overtime game.
Okay.
But I don't see this team getting out of that rut that they're in for a while. I don't think Dak is that quarterback. I think starting him over Romo will always haunt this team.
Okay.
I believe in Zeke. He's a fantastic running back, top 3 for sure. And, Amari Cooper, we'll see what he can do. I mean, he hasn't spoken yet, but he's not going to be better than Dez, which this team is obviously missing.
We'll see if Amari Cooper fits the system.
And
I think
Beasley,
that's how Cole Beasley's he's been playing pretty well.
He's been quiet this year.
He has.
So this week we have them. What did we say? We had them beating Tennessee in Dallas.
I think we said beating Tennessee.
Yeah, because they're coming off of losing 3 to Washington, who's looking pretty good. I think they're coming off their bye week too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, they're not playing this week. They're playing next week.
Who?
So
Dallas?
Dallas is on their bye week this week.
No, they were on their bye week last week, right? Yeah, it was last week.
They're playing on the 5th. Yeah, you're math. So after that, they're in Philadelphia. I think they lose that.
In Philadelphia. Yeah.
They're in Atlanta after that. I think they lose that.
They lose in Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
It'll be a close game.
That is going to all depend
If
on
Devontae Freeman
Amari
plays.
Cooper.
Amari Cooper.
If he has really settled in or not.
Okay.
Because I think
that
the
with
one
any of
thing
these
this team
games.
is missing is, it's a decent receiver.
Yeah.
I'll
I'll have Dallas
have a
winning that
tight
game,
end
though.
anymore, though, so that's what Atlanta struggles with covering. So I think that without a strong tight end to worry about, I think Atlanta's defense can hold them under 20 points.
Okay. I can see Dallas winning that game, though. I think Zeke could be a little too much.
Who you got, though?
For that game?
Yeah.
Dallas.
Okay.
I just think Zeke might be a little too much for that. Yeah,
well. Washington's in Dallas. I see Washington winning the series.
Okay. Yeah.
They lose to New Orleans in Dallas.
Yes.
They lose to Philadelphia in Dallas.
I think they can split that series.
Really?
I think they can, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Because they got Golden Tate now. That defense is still top 5. Wentz is healthy. The gunsling in it. I think the Eagles are making for a comeback this season.
You think so?
I think that if they don't win the division, they'll get the 6th seed.
Okay.
I definitely see them in the playoffs.
Okay.
I have Cowboys losing the series.
Okay, I can see Cowboys losing the series now, but I still think those games will be close. Again, like you were saying, like it all depends if Amari Cooper clicks with that offense. Like if he does, and
if Zeke starts getting it going, he's been quiet this year. It's killing me in fantasy because he's my first overall pick.
Yeah, I mean you are talking about how that Dak Prescott's not a very good quarterback, and I think some of that may have to do with system and may have to do with the coaching. And like you were saying before, I don't think he's that bad of a quarterback, but like he does have to step it up. I will agree with you.
I would not put Dak in the above average category.
Yeah.
He's right at the average. He's down there with, I think he's in the same system as you got Flacco and Andy Dalton. I think he's right there with the kind of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You have the best running back in the league though, or second best. You cannot count Todd Gurley out for sure.
Yeah.
You have a great running back. Sean Lee's one of the better pass rushers in the league.
He keeps that defense together. But thing is with him though, I mean he's gotten hurt, so you also got to look at that as well.
I just can't figure this team out because one week you think they're going to do great, and then they do bad. Then next week you think they're going to do bad, and they do great. So who knows?
Yeah.
But I don't see them beating Philadelphia. We have them losing to Indianapolis, right? In Indianapolis, or do we have them winning that game?
I think we had Indianapolis winning.
Yeah, me too. They beat Tampa Bay in Dallas.
Yep.
And then the Cowboys in New York.
I think we said.
I think we had them losing.
We had them losing.
Yeah. Yep. So, counting that, I have them losing.
Is that 7-9 or something like that? Right.
Win, loss. All right, I only have them winning 2 more games.
6-10.
Yeah, you have them winning 3 more.
Yeah. So I'm going 7-9. I can see him more 7-9 than 6-10.
All right, so here's another team we were just talking about: the 4-4 Philadelphia Eagles, reigning Super Bowl champions.
Hard team.
They have a very similar team to what they did last year. Same coaching, same kind of system. So, question is, what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles? Why are they not winning games?
I don't know, dude. Like it's just hard. And they even didn't they add Michael Bennett too? So they even added a piece. Right?
I don't think the Eagles have Michael Bennett.
Are you sure?
Actually,
I thought they added Michael Bennett. Maybe he's not playing. Maybe he's hurt or suspended or something. I'm pretty sure they have Michael Bennett.
You're right.
Yeah.
He's an Eagle.
Yeah. But then got rid of Torrey Smith, but that's not really saying that much though. You got rid of Torrey Smith, and then you have Mike Wallace, and then Mike Wallace gets hurt, and now you have another number 2 in Golden Tate. So that kind of puts your offense at a better place. It's just figuring out that running game, dude. like for them, like.
Yeah, I believe in Ajayi.
But he's hurt though. Isn't he out for the? He's not out for the year, is he? Yeah, he is. He's on IR.
Yeah.
He's on IR.
LeGarrette Blount's the running back now.
No, he's with the Lions.
I'm losing my mind right now. What's wrong with me?
They have Clement. They have Clement, and they have and Sproles.
Sproles.
So Sproles is the number one running back, dude. He's a good third down. Pass it to him. He'll get 10, 15 yards.
He's a quick guy, but...
Oh, he's a real quick guy. But yeah,
it's this team has been slower. They're not as exciting to watch.
Yeah.
They're pretty much losing by like a field goal in every game that they've lost.
Okay.
Pretty much. I mean. So, schedule. Dallas and Philadelphia. I had them winning that.
Okay.
They're in New Orleans. They lose that.
Yep.
Giants come to Philly. They win that.
Yep.
Washington in Philadelphia.
Those games. Have they played each other? They haven't played each other yet. Philly and...
No, they haven't played yet. They played twice. I have them 1-1 in the series.
I can see that. What was that first game? Was it in Washington or Philly?
It's in Philly.
If it's in Philly, the Washington will lose.
You think that Washington wins at home and loses away?
Yep.
I agree. All right. Eagles in Dallas. We were split on that one, weren't we? I have Philly winning that.
Yeah. You have Philly winning both of those games, and I have them.
They're losing to the Rams in L.A.
Yep.
They lose to Houston and Philly.
Yes.
And then
we think we said that.
So we have them losing their last 3 games because we said that they're going to lose in Washington.
Right.
Okay, so this puts them 8-8. Is this a playoff team?
No. I mean, just from
so
that...
from Super Bowl winners to out of the playoffs.
The NFC is just so dang competitive.
Yeah.
And it's just hard.
The NFC North is taking all the wild card spots. Or, no.
Yeah. No,
NFC South.
South?
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. No, Eagles are not a playoff team. Looking at the South and North pretty much.
And their schedule and everything, too.
Yeah.
Okay,
so last up in the NFC East, we have the 5-2 Washington Redskins.
I'm so surprised because, like, the Redskins, like, everybody, especially even me, like, we're expecting them to not do well at all this year.
They beat Green Bay 31-17 this year.
Right.
And then they come out and lose 21-9 to the Colts. It's like, who are you? But, I don't know, I feel like this team has a better identity. I'm going to the game this week, though. This week's game, I'm going to it.
That'll be sweet.
I'm going with a friend of mine. He has season passes to the Redskins, so I'm going with him because they're playing Atlanta in Washington.
Oh, cool.
So of course I'm going to say Atlanta wins that game because I'm going to the game, and the last thing I want to see is Atlanta lose in person.
All right, so it depends. For me, it depends who's healthy for the Redskins.
We're coming off a bye week. We're both coming off of beating the Giants.
That's true.
Because we beat the Giants week before, and they just beat the Giants.
You guys came off a bye week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Redskins
just beat the Giants. Yeah, we're both coming off beating the Giants.
I think it depends because, I mean, I remember 2 weeks ago when they played the Cowboys. I didn't really see this week, but I saw Crowder was hurt and Paul Richardson was hurt. I think if at least Paul Richardson is in there...
Is Chris Tomlinson healthy again?
He played last week. He did? Yep.
He didn't do much.
Yeah. But I think...
AP's lighting up. AP's finally looking like good old AP. He's not what he used to be.
If AP gets over 1,000, bold prediction. All right, if AP gets over 1,000 yards, he'll win Comeback Player of the Year. Do you agree?
Comeback Player of the Year. That, my friend, is going to Deshaun Watson.
That's hard.
No.
That's hard.
What am I thinking? J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt's going to Comeback Player of the Year.
I still think I like Adrian Peterson, dude. Just like. You can go from, like, maybe a couple good games and then going from team to team and then, like, especially if the Redskins, like, get a decent seed in the playoffs and they win games well.
Mm-hmm. So
Atlanta...
I like the Redskins' defense.
It's at home.
I like Alex Smith.
I'm going to give Washington the win.
But this is a good team. This is a playoff team. I like them. I don't know how deep in the playoffs they're going to go, but I like... This is a well-rounded team. They don't have many holes. They're winning close games, but they got to win the games that matter, and I don't think they beat Atlanta because I think Atlanta's finally starting to have an identity this year.
Okay.
Because I can see them after Pittsburgh. I feel like we kind of snapped and be like, wait a minute, this isn't who we are. We're Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons. We got to put up more points.
Yeah.
So
I think Washington will win a close game.
it's
though.
going to be a very good game, and it's going to all come down to if Washington can force turnovers.
Yes.
If Washington can pick it off, they win.
Okay. I think Washington, because of that, will win this game.
My heart's going to get broken this week. Okay, so after that, Washington is going to Tampa. They win that.
Yep.
They lose to Houston in Washington.
Yeah, I think we said that.
Dallas. What do we say about them? Are they sweeping Dallas?
I think we said they're sweeping Dallas.
Okay. What about Philly? What do we say about them? In Philly, we said that they're going 1-1 there.
Yeah, they would.
So they're losing this week, and they're winning week 17.
Yep.
They sweep the Giants. Yes. Yep. They're in Jacksonville. I think they win that.
Yep.
Upset alert! Upset alert! The Titans beat the Redskins in Tennessee.
Did we say that?
I don't know,
we said
but
the
I'm
Redskins
saying
win.
it now.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying Redskins get the dub.
Titans are the Redskins. I don't know. They like keeping it close, but I think I can see the Titans pulling it off.
Okay.
So moving on.
So what does that make the Redskins like at the end of the season? Like that's like
10-6, 11-5.
Like 11-5. That's crazy.
I think it's 11-5.
It's crazy.
Where do they come from? I don't know, but they're here. They're winning the division. They're going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think that they win a game. I think they win this game in the playoffs.
Okay.
I think, prediction alert, they will get the
third seed,
and I think that they will beat the Panthers. First round of the playoffs. The Panthers will be the 6th seed. I think they beat the Panthers first round.
I think the Panthers will not be the 6th seed. They'll be the 5th seed. And that means Washington will play whoever gets second in the NFC North. Which right now it's Minnesota. But if they play, it's gonna be Green Bay. Are you kidding me? I think
I'll get there. Hey, I have a surprising team in that division that's not making the playoffs.
Okay.
So, NFC West, you have starting out with the 1-7
49ers.
San Francisco 49ers.
Man, everybody was so high in them, especially with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, Garoppolo's injured now.
Now you got
CJ's in there, not doing anything.
Hey, they do have Matt Breida, though.
Yeah, he started out really good. He all of a sudden showed up in the top 3 in rushing yards, and now he's dropped off, and my fantasy's hurt because of him.
Yeah.
He's not doing much anymore.
I do like Marquise Goodwin. Marquise Goodwin.
They have Pierre Garçon.
In the beginning. Oh, he should have gotten traded or something. I don't know. He just doesn't fit in that system, I don't think.
Not much to say. I don't like this team. I don't think they're good. I think that they have more problems than just quarterback. I think Garoppolo is their quarterback. I don't think he's great, but he's their quarterback in years to come.
They just need weapons for him,
defense is okay at best.
As I will say, their defense is young. They have a really young defense. I think their secondary needs to get
49ers
better.
49ers have always had a pretty decent defense. Reliable, at least.
Yeah, I think Richard Sherman has been doing okay.
You can't win games if your offense can't hold on to the ball.
That's true.
So, just moving on. We have them beating Oakland, yeah?
Beating Oakland?
In San Francisco?
Yeah. We have them beating
Oakland. Ooh. Damn, this is a... Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
This is a weak schedule. Giants are coming to San Francisco.
We said San Francisco would win that game. 2 wins, dude.
49ers in Tampa Bay. They lose that.
Yeah.
49ers in Seattle. They lose that. 49ers against Denver in San Francisco.
I think we said Wait, who did you say that won?
I think Denver wins
Denver wins that game.
Seattle comes to San Francisco. I don't see Seattle taking the series. I think 49ers win that.
I think Seattle wins that game. Just sleep.
Wait, what kind of... Is Garoppolo coming back this year?
No, he's out for the year.
Okay. The Bears beat the 49ers in San Francisco, and then the Rams destroy the 49ers week 17.
Oh, yeah. Unless, the Rams bench everybody.
Well, the Rams are going to bench everybody, but they're still going to destroy them. You don't be 8-0 without some depth on your roster.
Yeah, that's true.
So
we got them... I have them winning 2 more games.
3 more games.
I'm winning 2, I think.
Got them 4-12.
Okay, 3-13.
Next up, another boring team to talk about, the 2-6 Arizona Cardinals.
What do you think about Josh Rosen?
I think that he is a rookie.
I think
that he
can be good.
He has Larry Fitzgerald, Larry Fitzgerald is still looking like one of the best players. He's still looking like a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
David Johnson is doing nothing. this year. I still think he's one of the better running backs skill-wise in the league, but he's still doing nothing.
Does that have to do with his offensive line?
I don't know if it's as much the offensive line as much as the system.
Okay.
I think that Cardinals, they have a decent rookie quarterback. They have a great running back and a Hall of Famer receiver on offense. And then they have Patrick Peterson on defense, who's leading that defense, which they might not have a lot of depth, but you still have one of the better cornerbacks in league history.
They also have Deion Buchanan, who they're not.
I think that a lot of the Cardinals' problem is the system and the way the organization is run.
Mm-hmm.
I like their roster overall, and I think that I don't know, I feel like they might be competitors in 4 to 5 years with Rosen, but not this year for sure. They're not good this year. They can't win. They're actually winning the close games. It's the games where they give up a lot of points that they lose.
Yeah.
They're actually winning most of the close games, aside from Chicago and Seattle.
Well, I mean, they've only won 2 games, and both of those games were against the Cardinals or against the 49ers.
Yeah. Are they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. Poor San Francisco. So they lose in Kansas City this week.
Yes.
What do we say? Raiders in Arizona?
I think we said that who we say who gets that win? I think we did say Raiders. I don't remember, but
okay. Putting all things aside, I think that the Cardinals will pull it off. I remember what I said before. That's what I'm saying now. Cardinals pull that off. Cardinals are in LA against the Chargers. They lose that.
Yep.
They are in Lambeau against the Packers. They lose that.
Yep.
Detroit comes to Arizona. They lose that.
Right.
They're in Atlanta. They lose that.
Yep.
The Rams come to Arizona. They lose that.
Yep.
They're in Seattle. They lose that.
In Seattle, yeah.
They are winning one more game.
Okay. So
finishing the year
3-13.
13.
Nice.
So, next up, I exited out of it. We have the Seattle Seahawks. They are currently 4-3. They have a winning record? Huh.
Dude.
Talk about sneaky.
Seahawks are
They're not a playoff team because the NFC's strong, but they're sneaky. They can win some sneaky games.
They're just one of those teams where I'm confused by.
I think Russell Wilson, he
has good games and then he has bad games.
He's a top quarterback. And it's not even him. He doesn't have a lot around him to go off. I think Russell Wilson, he's agile, he's smart, he has a good arm.
Yeah.
I like him as a quarterback, but their defense, they've gotten rid of the Legion of Boom. Marshawn Lynch has been off the team for a while, so their running backs have been kind of weak. Their receivers, Doug Baldwin.
Yeah,
Doug Baldwin is very athletic. He's a great receiver, but they're not using him right.
Yeah.
He's doing nothing on the team right now. Tyler Lockett's getting all the credit right now.
Yeah. I mean, you draft...
This team has the weapons to win some games, but not the weapons to go deep. Although, if you look at it here recently, looking at their recent games, actually, all of their games, they lost by 3 points to Denver week 1. Close game. People thought Denver were going to be good. They came out strong. Mm-hmm. They lost a close game against Chicago Bears. They lost by a touchdown. The Bears are looking really good.
Yep.
They won against Dallas by 2 scores.
Right.
They beat Arizona in a close one.
Right.
They lost to the Rams only by 2 points. They put up 31 points against the Rams defense.
Man.
They put up 27. They won 27-3 against the Raiders. And then last week they beat the Lions 28-14. This team is better than people give them credit for.
Yes, they are.
This team is losing close games, and when they win, they win.
Yeah.
They put up 31 against the Rams. That has got to say something.
I mean, their running game has been good the past couple of weeks. I mean, you drafted Rashad Penny with their first pick, and he wasn't a first-round running back, and I think he's hurt. But right now, Chris Carson's their guy, and he's been playing decent. I mean, beginning of the season, this is a fantasy owner. I'm just like, nah, I don't want him just because, right now I just don't see him being the number one. But, beginning of the season, he was rough. But then the last couple of weeks, he's just been getting in the end zone and getting yards. So if he keeps that up, I mean, they could make a playoff push.
No,
but
they have a tough schedule.
All right, let's see their schedule.
This week, Chargers are coming to Seattle.
Yeah,
that will be a good game. Looking at what I just saw with the Seahawks, they're going to keep it close.
I said Seattle wins. I think you said Chargers win that game.
I think the Chargers win it.
I
Just
say
because the
Seattle
Chargers
wins.
look hot right now. Phillip Rivers. I don't know. Rivers and Wilson, I think they're 2 quarterbacks that put right next to each other on the who's better kind of scale. I think I give Rivers the edge, but they're both really good quarterbacks, and seeing these 2 throw down is going to be good.
Yeah.
I think the Chargers have the better overall team.
Okay.
The Seahawks in LA. They already lost in Seattle, so I don't see them winning in LA.
Yep.
They're going. Packers are coming to Seattle. I think
Seattle gets the dub. Seattle wins.
Seattle gets the dub.
I don't know. Every time I hear Packers Seattle,
just got rid of Clinton Dix. I think that might be the game Baldwin might explode. What do you think?
Yeah,
I think Doug Baldwin goes off that game.
Every time I just hear Packers Seahawks, I think of the one game where it's just the Fail Mary or whatever. Not the Fail Mary. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Like you throw up the ball and like two guys, I think it was Golden Tate and somebody else like came down with the ball. So I always think of that game, and I always think those games are close, and they have been close past couple years. But I think the Seahawks come out with that game.
Okay. I don't know if I have enough evidence to back you up.
Okay.
But you know what? I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah?
I'm going to back you up on that.
That's okay.
It's a game to watch out for. Because I said Seattle's better than that people think they are.
Yes.
In Carolina, they win that game. Upset alert.
Look, man, you just don't like the Panthers. Come on now. You're just
I think the Panthers are overrated.
Okay.
It's only a matter of time before Greg Olsen gets another concussion.
Oh, my gosh, dude. I don't know, man. I think that... Is it in Carolina?
It's in Carolina.
I think it'll be another... I like to just see shootout games. That's just who I am.
Well,
but I don't think it will be a shootout. I think it'll be like one team will have like a lead, another team will maybe make a push.
I've thought more about it. I take away my upset alert. Panthers win.
Panthers win?
Panthers win. I don't want them to win, but they're going to win.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll take Panthers in that game too.
Yeah. They beat the 49ers in Seattle.
Yep.
Here's a sneaky one. The Vikings come to Seattle.
Man,
the Vikings are hard to talk about right now.
Let's go Seahawks. Come on. Give Seahawks a win. Give Seahawks a win in that game.
I have them winning right now. I don't see them making the playoffs. Losing to the Chargers, losing to the Rams.
Give Seahawks the win.
No.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't see them winning that game.
Okay, I do. But
it will be a very good game. It's
so it'll be a good game.
December 10th. Is that prime time?
I think that might be prime time.
That might be prime time. Okay, after that, they're in San Francisco. They win that.
Yep.
The Chiefs beat them in Seattle.
Yep.
And then they beat Arizona in Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have them, 9-7? That's winning record. Or
what are they at right now?
9-7, 10. They're 4-3 right now.
4-3. I'm at 10-6. I think so. That means they make playoffs.
They
succeed, right?
They'll be more than one 10-6 team. I think that there'll be a couple different 10-6 teams that'll be fighting for that spot. It's going to come down to points and tiebreakers.
Yeah.
I think that the teams to look out for that 6th seed. I think you got the Seahawks to look out for. I think you have the
Packers to look out for.
To look out for. The Bears to look out for. The Lions to look out for. The Panthers and the Falcons all to look out for that 6 teams competing for that 6th spot. I think any of those teams can go 10-6.
Okay. So we'll talk about this later with the NFC North, but does that mean you have the Vikings?
I think that means you gotta wait a minute for that.
Okay.
So now we have the 8-0 Los Angeles Rams who are destroying the NFL.
And then their team just got better with Dante Fowler on that defense. Are you kidding me?
So if you tuned in, I don't know if you tuned in or not, but me and Justin have done a couple segments on the BC Voice Radio.
Yep.
If we'll do more of those if you want to look on it, but we talked briefly about this last time we did this.
We predicted.
I have the Rams going 15-1 this year.
We both did. We had them.
But we have them losing different games. This week, great game. They're in New Orleans. I have them winning that game.
I have them losing that game.
Mm-hmm. We can fly through this one because we've already talked about it. But actually, you guys haven't heard us yet. Todd Gurley, best running back in the NFL. Jared Goff, looking like a top 10 quarterback right now. You have Robert Woods, which is blown up right now.
Cooper Kupp has been good.
Cooper Kupp has been good.
He's hurt.
Brandon Cooks, Brandon Cooks, right?
Yeah, Brandon Cooks has actually been looking pretty well.
Those 3 receivers, look at them. The defense had Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald up front. Forget about it. Yeah. You have Dante Fowler right now. This team is looking great.
Yeah. I think they would go 16-0 if Aqib Talib wasn't hurt.
And I'm not just saying that because right now. This team is as good as their record shows. People are saying, they've only played one tough team right now. No, that's not true.
But they have... Look at the wins though. Some of those wins, they've had some really close games that they should have lost.
I just looked at the preseason real quick. They played the Saints in the preseason. Guess what? Guess the final score of that game.
What?
Week 4 of the preseason, 28-0. Who would you say won that game?
Saints.
Yeah, the Saints won that game, 28-0. They shut the Rams out. Anyway, they played the Chargers, which are a playoff team. They beat the Vikings, which are debatably a playoff team. They beat the Seahawks in Seattle, which is a division rival, in a close game, and they beat Green Bay too. Those are all good teams.
Right.
So it's not that they just have a weak schedule. No, and especially their schedule up to come, they're playing a lot of really good teams coming up.
Right.
So this team is just as good as 8-0 says they are. So this week they're in New Orleans. You have them winning. You have them losing. And have them winning.
Wait. Oh,
I have the Rams winning this week.
the Saints winning that game.
Seattle comes to L.A. We said the Rams win that.
Yep.
Game of the year, the Chiefs come to L.A.
We both said the Rams.
We both said the Rams win that.
Yep.
The Rams are in Detroit. They win that.
Yep.
It'll be a good game.
Yep.
Detroit's a sneaky team, but I still think that Todd Gurley's going to run for 3 touchdowns. Here's the game I have them losing. The Rams in Chicago. Khalil Mack will be back. He'll be healthy. Mitchell Trubisky's lighting it up. I think Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen are going to be lighting up that game. I think the stars are going to line. It's in Chicago. I think everything's going to work out great for the Rams' first loss of the season.
Okay. I still think Rams pull that game off, but I think it'll be, to be honest, a lower scoring game. That will probably be field goals will definitely come. I think Greg Zerlin will put
Khalil
them
Mack's
through.
going to get a touchdown.
He'll get a touchdown? I can see it, but I think it's going to be like 16-13. It'll be a score like that.
And we both have them winning the next 3 games. Philadelphia comes to L.A., they win that. They're in Arizona, they win that. And the 49ers, week 17, come to L.A., they win that. Awesome. So we both have them 15-1.
Yeah.
But they could possibly be 14-2 very easily.
Yeah.
Moving on to the NFC North, we have 2 more divisions to talk about.
Very interesting division. Any of those teams in that division could make the playoffs.
This is the toughest division in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely.
Starting out, the 3-4 Detroit Lions. Everyone at the beginning of the year thought that this team was going to be, 6-10, 7-9, average team. I mean, it's kind of what they're looking at right now, but they're just as good, if not better than the record.
I mean, come on. You begin the season allowing 42 points against the Jets. Like, your season outlook does not look good.
48.
But then,
just 48.
48? But then you beat the Patriots.
And then they lost to the 49ers week 2.
Wow. Okay.
And then they beat the Patriots. They started 0-2 losing to crappy teams, and then they beat the Patriots by 16 points.
Right.
Then they lose to Dallas out of nowhere. How do you come off of beating the Patriots to losing to Dallas?
Right.
That's what we were talking about Dallas earlier. They're so unpredictable.
Right.
The Lions were coming off a huge upset win, and then they lose.
Right.
They beat Green Bay 31-23. Then they beat Miami.
Yeah.
They put up 32 against them, and then they lost to Seattle.
Okay.
This team is average. I think they're a little above average, but their record is going to show average.
Like 8-8, 7-9.
I like Matthew Stafford. I think he's a very contemporary quarterback. I think he has what it takes to get it done.
Yep.
If this team is better, I think that you can win a championship with Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
But this team doesn't have what it takes around them right now, and they just got rid of Golden Tate.
Do you think that Kerryon Johnson, their running back right now, that's their running back of the future? I think so. And he's looked good. I mean, come on.
I thought that about Jay Ajayi. Wait, no, he wasn't a Lion. Just kidding.
Who's a Lion? I don't know.
No, he was a Dolphin. Anyway,
Amir Abdullah.
Yeah. No, I did not think that about that Abdullah. I think that he could, maybe.
Come on, first Lions running back in like how many games to get a 100-yard game?
Yeah, I think he has what it takes.
Yeah, he does.
They have some receiver spots to work on their defense.
I mean, Kenny Galladay's looking pretty good. And you still have Marvin Jones too. Makes a couple good plays.
That's true.
The fact that they got rid of Eric Ebron though, like, kind of puts their offense lower. I mean, come on, it's making the Colts look good. You know, he's playing well for the Colts, so.
Chad Doyle and Eric Ebron next to each other. Yeah, right.
That's insane. But yeah, I think this year probably won't be a playoff year for them. But I mean, you do have Matt Patricia. You know, great defensive mind. I think he'll make that defense better as the years come.
This team has a pretty tough schedule coming up.
All right,
which is why I don't think they'll have a winning record. So this week they're in Minnesota.
Okay.
Did they lose that?
In Minnesota, yeah, they lose.
Then they're in Chicago. I think they lose that.
Okay.
The Panthers are in Detroit. That could be one of those sneaky games.
Yeah, for both teams.
For either team. That game could literally be decided by a coin toss.
I want to go to Detroit for that one. I just have a feeling that Detroit could win that game off of some sort of either a turnover or like a big miraculous play at the end of the game. I think what could happen is, like, you know, Panthers will be down by 6 and Cam will go and fumble the ball or something. Or he'll lead them back on a game-winning touchdown drive. I mean, you never know. It's unpredictable with these kind of games. But I think Detroit will get the win.
So they're coming off a week. So they played the Bears, they played the Panthers, then the Bears again in Detroit this time.
Man.
I think that just because they play so close together, I think they split this series.
Okay, I can see it.
I think that they went at home just because they just finished playing them. They're going to kind of understand. They're going to be in their own dome, or not the dome, but like they're coming to their own field. They're going to remember them very well. I just think everything's going to align right for the Lions. They lose to the Rams. They beat Arizona in Arizona. They beat the Bills in Buffalo. I think the Vikings take the series in Detroit. What do you think?
Yep, I think that.
And then
who they got last?
Very sneaky game. Lions in Lambeau. It's the Pack.
They already beat The Lions already beat the Packers at home.
I don't see the Packers losing twice. But
I think we'll get to the Packers. Packers are our next team. One of the next teams we're talking about. I think it depends whether it's a playoff game. Like if like the Packers are at that point where win and you're in, or like win and
they're going to be. The Packers are going because I'm saying there's going to be some 10-6 teams.
Yeah,
the Packers are going to be one of them.
So I think Packers get that win though. If it's like playoffs on the line, get the win.
I think the Lions are going to finish 8-8. I think that's what we got.
Yep.
Moving on, the 3-3-1
Packers.
Green Bay Packers.
Yep. Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is year after year one of the most impressive quarterbacks in the league. He's always doing things you just wouldn't think he will. Devontae Adams is playing out of his mind right now.
Crazy.
They just got rid of Ty Montgomery after losing a close game to the Rams.
Randall Cobb playing a little underwhelming.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I almost forgot Randall Cobb was in the league.
Yeah.
Just because he's been so quiet.
And then they also have Jimmy Graham. He's been good in the red zone, but still not performing as much as they wanted him.
He's a good tight end.
Oh, he's a good
solid.
tight end.
You can still trust on him.
Oh, yeah.
And then they just got rid of Clinton Ditz, which is their best defensive player. Very questionable decision on their part.
And he went to the Redskins, which, we talked about the Redskins
he's
before.
He's a Pro Bowl player.
He's
Pro Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
So why are they getting rid of him? I don't know. I think that right there is honestly going to hurt this team. Could very well hurt their playoff chances because they missed the playoffs last year for the first time in Lord knows how long.
Yeah.
I think that they might miss it again this year because just of how tough this division is.
Yeah.
I have them missing the playoffs this year. This is that surprising team I said that's missing the playoffs in this division.
I'm not surprised.
The Packers are not making the playoffs this year. They will be one of those 10-6 teams that miss. This week they're in New England. They lose that.
Yep.
Miami comes to Green Bay. I don't remember what we said earlier.
I think we said Green Bay gets that.
But I think Green Bay gets that because it's in Green Bay. Packers come to Seattle.
I forget who we said.
What did we say about that?
I think.
Do you think the 12th man will rise up in Seattle?
Oh yeah, I said Seattle wins that game.
Seattle can get that. Green Bay's in Minnesota. Division game that will be
in Minnesota. I think
probably
Minnesota.
The division
probably will be,
and I think Minnesota is going to get the edge.
Do you think it will be for the division? We're going to talk about the Bears, but.
I think that Green Bay is going to be third in that division.
Yeah, they will be third, but do you think that...
I think that they're all going to be right there until Week 17, and I think that this game right here is going to be a big reason why Green Bay misses the playoffs.
Okay.
Because they just couldn't get it done in Minnesota.
Yeah.
They don't have the defense, I think, that can stop Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. They don't have the defense that can stop those two receivers.
Think about it, though.
They're lining it up.
You have them, and then you also have Kyle Rudolph. And,
yeah.
And then Kirk Cousins is playing... Well, we'll talk about it later.
He's top. Stats-wise, he's top 5. So,
yeah.
They beat Arizona in Green Bay.
Okay.
I love this because I know that there is a team in the league, not in their division, that they cannot get it done against. It's like Pittsburgh and New England. Who would you say that is? Who can Green Bay not beat to save their lives outside of their division?
Is it NFC or AFC?
NFC.
NFC? I'm trying to think. Who outside of their division? I can't think it right now.
The Atlanta Falcons. The year Atlanta went to the playoffs, Atlanta beat them twice in the same year. They beat them in the regular season, they beat them again in the playoffs. They destroyed them in the playoffs. And then last year we beat them again. And I think a couple years before that we beat them again. Aaron Rodgers, for some reason, just cannot beat Matt Ryan head to head. Green Bay has a very tough time
in
against
Lambeau.
Or it's in Lambeau, but that doesn't matter because we beat them in Lambeau previously too.
I think that
I didn't think we could do it as a Falcons fan myself, but after I keep seeing us play them, I realize that Green Bay really struggles against Atlanta.
I think Green Bay will get the W. I just think with Atlanta just being hurt and their players just hurt on defense, I think Aaron Rodgers could have a huge game like he's been having.
This will definitely be a game up in the 40s and 30s. This is going to be a shootout. Yeah,
Could
Aaron
be.
Rodgers hooking up with Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is going to go for 150 yards, 2 touchdowns.
And then you'll see
You're
Calvin.
going to have
Ridley
Jimmy Graham's going to get 2 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley's going to get 2 touchdowns. I think Julio's going to get a touchdown that game. Devontae Freeman will be back. I think he'll run in the touchdown. It's going to be a very high-scoring game. They're both going to do great. I think one quarterback will throw a pick. Only one, though, can't tell which right now. But I think Atlanta pulls out a very close one, 42-38.
42-38.
It's going to be a high-scoring game.
Wow. Okay, I don't think it'll be that high scoring, but I think Green Bay will get the win instead.
The game that really seals it not seals it, but the game that's going to hurt them the most in their playoff bets, they're going to lose in Chicago.
In Chicago, I can see
Chicago.
it. I think
they lose 2 in a row against the Falcons in Chicago.
They didn't lose against Chicago.
I'm saying I think they lose 2 in a row against the Falcons and the
okay.
Bears.
I think the last time that they played Chicago was very interesting because you had Chicago first half, like Aaron Rodgers got knocked out of that game because of his leg injury, and then like you just see, I think they're up like 17-0 or something like that, and then Aaron Rodgers somehow storms back in the second half and completely demolishes them. Khalil Mack like had a career day, had like a sack, an interception, a fumble recovery, and a touchdown all in the same game. So I don't know. I think in Chicago get the win. I mean, Khalil Mack will take over, but yeah, I think it'll be a close game though. I think it would definitely most likely come down to defense.
I have the Bears making the playoffs in that 6th seed.
Okay.
Mark my words.
Okay.
It's either going to be the Bears or the Falcons. I think the Falcons can make a comeback for it, but I'm a Falcons fan. So, speaking as a Falcons fan, Atlanta's going to get that 6th seed. Speaking as a non-biased NFL lover, the Bears are going to get it. The Falcons are going to fall short. They win their last 2 games against the Jets in New York. Agree? Mm-hmm. And then in Green Bay against Detroit. We said earlier that we think they're going to do it. Because they'll be playing for the playoffs. They're going to win, but things are just not going to go their way.
Yeah, we said that.
So that puts the Packers
9-6-1 or whatever.
10-6.
Well, I mean, they have the 1, so it'd be like 10-5-1 maybe.
Oh yeah, 10-5-1.
I think that with the 1 though, with that tie, it could possibly put them at that.
Well, the Bears already have a lead up there, head division right now.
Right. Oh, that's true. Oh, let's see.
All right. Well, next up, 4-3-1 Minnesota Vikings. This is a team going into the year. I don't know if anyone read my article I published earlier this year for the BC Voice, Veritas. I gave my predictions there. I had the Vikings winning the Super Bowl in my predictions. I had them lighting it up the year. I had them having a great record, number 1 defense in the league. I look like a fool now after saying that. I realized everything I said was stupid. I still believe on paper this is one of the best teams in the league, but they're just not executing right.
Right.
And so, this is a tricky team to talk about because they have Kirk Cousins, which I believe is a great quarterback. They have Adam Thielen, which is about to break the record for the most 100-yard games in a season. Stephon Diggs, which is a fantastic compliment to him. Kyle Rudolph, which is a top 5 tight end.
They also have Laquan Treadwell, who's now coming up. I mean, he was a first-round pick. They also have Aldrick Robinson, who was a Redskin and just can, like, he's a speedster. So you can have him get, like, 60-yard touchdowns, like, once every couple of games. So, like, they have weapons. I mean, and then if they still had Dalvin Cook, like, he can still come back. That's the thing, too. So they can make a, if he comes back healthy and he plays well, like, they could make a stretch if they make the playoffs.
And then Xavier Rhodes is the best defensive back in the league.
One of the better
Don't at me
ones.
at that.
He
is the best defensive back in the league.
One of the better. I don't think he's the best, but...
I don't quite really know what's going on with this team right now. I don't really know if it's a coaching thing or just an execution thing, or maybe there's just too many holes on the defensive side. But it's... On paper, I thought this team was going to be a lot better than they are, and it's sad to see, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Really? I saw the way they played against New Orleans, and they should have won that game.
I said Chicago's getting the 6th seed. I guess by default that means Minnesota's going to win the division.
Well, let's just see what we got.
I still believe Minnesota can turn it around. They have a kind of difficult schedule.
Let's see what they got.
I do think they have what it takes. But, okay, so in Minnesota against the Lions, I think they win that.
Yeah, we said they win that.
In Chicago, I think they win that.
In Chicago?
In Chicago. I don't see Chicago just sweeping their whole division. I think they're winning a couple games.
Well, I mean, they don't sweep their division because they already lost to the Packers, but sweep them for the rest of the year. Let's just go with Minnesota winning that game. I can see it.
Green Bay comes to Minnesota. I think I said earlier the Vikings are getting that.
Yep.
They lose in Foxborough against the Patriots.
Yep.
the Pades, why did I say that? Patriots. The Vikings in Seattle. That's a sneaky game that the Vikings could possibly lose.
I think I said that Seattle would win.
I don't remember what I said earlier, but I think that game could go either way. It's tough. I don't remember what I said earlier. So right now I'm gonna go Seattle because it's in Seattle. That 12th man's gonna rise up.
Yep.
It's gonna all work out well. The Miami comes to Minnesota. I think the Vikings pull that off. Again, I don't remember what I said earlier, but
right.
I think that's what I said.
Yep.
And then the Vikings in Detroit. I think that they sweep Detroit.
Yep.
And then last game, Bears against the Vikings. I think they split that series 1-1. They win in Minnesota.
Yeah.
You agree?
I can see it. Yeah.
I think that they could go 10-6, 11-5. Well, they have a tie, so that's obviously not true.
Yeah, but
I think I would not be surprised to see the Bears, Vikings, and Packers all have the same record, except the Bears are not going to have that tie.
They'll have that.
So it's either going to be under or over, and that's going to be what decides the playoffs.
All right. This if the Packers do go like 9-6-1 or whatever, and the Vikings, they do go 10-5-1 or 9-6-1 or whatever, I could see Seattle against the Vikings. That game could decide who goes to the playoffs. Like, I could see that. And Seattle playing against the Packers, too. I think Seattle's a sneaky team that could possibly get a 6th seed because of those two teams
Week
they play.
17 is Chicago and Minnesota.
Right.
They could be playing for the playoff spot right there.
They could be playing for the division right there.
We could. Maybe the South gets all the wild card spots, and maybe the North just the division winner. Who knows?
Yeah.
The North and the South, it's so interesting to see because it's anybody's game.
Yeah.
Like, even the 3 and 4 Bucks, like the 3 and 4, is better than they've been in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? It could go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about the Bears right now.
Yeah. Last up, the 4-3 Chicago Bears. They have not been a contender for like a very long time.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, I ragged on them when they gave up an arm and a leg to get Mitchell Trubisky. He wasn't the best quarterback in the draft. Everyone knows Mahomes is. They gave up some needless picks to move up, like, one spot, 2 spots, to a team that wasn't going to draft Trubisky anyway. They could have just waited and gotten him anyway. Like, that would have been fine. I wouldn't have been mad. But they gave up so much to move up to a spot where they didn't have to do that. They took an unnecessary risk. And they got, Trubisky's good. He's not the second coming of Manning.
To me, he's like a Jared Goff. Like,
yeah.
First year, like, didn't do too well.
I could go off the edge, but...
Oh, yeah, I think, but just this, like, career-wise, you don't have a very good year, but then the second year, like, your defense gets better, and then you have weapons. I mean, he has Allen Robinson right now. Granted, he hasn't really been playing that well. He also has Trey Burton, who has actually been playing pretty well. He came from the Eagles.
And a lot of the Bears team is going to rely on if they can get Jordan Howard going again. Because Jordan Howard showed that he is a top-caliber running back, but... Honestly, saying his name now is kind of weird because I barely remember who he is because he's just been so quiet this year. Tariq Cohen has been their go-to guy. He's been getting all the fantasy points. He's been getting their touchdowns. He's been getting their yards. Jordan Howard's been getting the bulk of the carries, but he's not doing much with it. So I think a lot of the Bears' success is going to depend on if they can get the big guy in the backfield going.
Right.
So saying that, let's move on to their schedule. This week, they're in Buffalo. They win that. The Lions come to Chicago. They win that. The Vikings, we said that they come to Chicago. I said that they're splitting that division, right?
Yep, they'll split the series.
I had the Vikings winning in Chicago and Chicago winning in Minnesota. Then the Bears are in Detroit. This is another one of those games where they just played this team. It's going to be familiar, but I just don't think the Lions will be able to get it done in the end. Because they're a hit-or-miss team, and I think they're just going to miss.
Okay.
What do you think?
Just the game against the Lions?
Mm-hmm.
Is it in Detroit or in...
It's in Detroit. Well... Because they're coming back and playing Minnesota, but the week before that, they were in Chicago against the Lions. So it's no one of those games where they only have one game in between.
I forget what we said about that, but I kind of feel like they'll sweep.
We said last time that the home game the second time around was going to win, but I just don't see the Lions.
I can see them sweeping. I
can see them sweeping. The Bears go to New York to play the Giants. They win that because the Giants are not good. The Rams beat the Bears in Chicago. That'll be a good game to watch. No, wait a second. What am I saying? No, this is my upset game. This is the game the Rams are going to lose. The Bears win this game. The Bears win against the Rams.
Okay.
Remember this. because they're coming off the road, so they're going to get the rest. They're coming off 2 road games in a row.
Right.
So they're coming back to home. They're going to feel like home. They're playing against, it's a huge game. They're going to be playing for that playoff spot, that division spot.
Right.
And this game, they're just going to have to win. The Rams aren't going to necessarily feel the same stakes up. So I think the Bears are going to come out. They're going to play harder. They're going to play better. And they're going to be able to just get the edge out, maybe win an overtime kick. But the Bears are going to win this game. Rams are going 15-1.
Okay.
Green Bay comes to Chicago. What do we say about that?
I think we said that Green Bay loses.
Next time we're going to write all this down so we don't have to keep asking ourselves this question.
Yeah, really.
Or hopefully, So then the Bears are coming to San Francisco. The Bears win that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Bears win in Minnesota for that division. And then they...
So they go...
This sounds like I have the Bears winning the division.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
It's like 11-5, right? They lose like 2 games.
Yeah, they're going 11-5 this year. The Bears are going 11-5, gentlemen. The Bears are winning the play. The Bears are winning their division.
They'll get
They're going to the playoffs.
Get
4th seed
still because we have Washington going 11-5. But so then that just leaves that 6th seed, that 5th and 6th seed like open because you have.
There's no teams in the East and no teams in the West, except maybe Seattle. But I still don't give them the edge.
I like Seattle.
All right, so this is the competitors we have for the 6th seed. Some of these are teams are going to get 4th seed. So we have Seattle, Eagles, the Bears, Vikings, Packers, Lions, Saints, Panthers, Falcons. I think any of those teams could get in the playoffs. Those are the playoff competitors right now.
Okay.
So
I think Eagles will get eliminated from this eventually.
Eagles are not making it.
I know you're a Falcons fan, but I can see Falcons kind of not choking, but just having a lot of close games that they just lose last minute. Or injured, yeah. So I don't see them really making the playoffs.
I take the Lions out of it.
Yeah, Lions are definitely out.
I think I take Seattle out.
I just can't see Seattle not making the playoffs.
It's just the wild card teams are going to be the Panthers, and it's going to be the 2nd team in the North.
I don't know. It depends though how Seattle does against the Vikings and the Packers.
The ties are going to be huge here.
Yeah.
It's going to be all under or over. These ties.
Think about it. Seattle has those 2 games against the Vikings, game against the Vikings, against the Packers. If they win those 2 games and they win a couple more games, they could get that 6th seed. Okay. Think about it. They have the tiebreakers over them. But they do have that tie, though, which is insane.
Okay, well, this has been like a 2-hour podcast. So let's just move on. Last division in the NFL, the NFC South. So, starting out, last place in division, you have the 3-4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A very familiar place for them, last place.
Yep.
They just benched Jameis Winston. They announced Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to be their starter.
Yep.
They seem to be very unsure about what they're going to do moving forward. Deshaun Jackson has now broken the record for the most 60-plus yard touchdowns in NFL history. That's pretty much all he can do, but he's done it. Mike Evans is a great receiver.
He's a good receiver, yeah.
Definitely a great receiver. He's tough. He hits hard. Quan Alexander's injured, so that it just when you miss your middle linebacker, your whole defense is going to hurt. Exactly what's going on with Atlanta. You need your middle linebacker to keep the team together, and that's I think a lot of Tampa Bay struggle right now. They're giving up so many points.
Yep.
They have given up more than 25 points every single game this season, including preseason.
Wow.
That it's terrible. That is really bad. So, well, they only gave up 23 against Cleveland, but that's still 23 against Cleveland.
Right.
So, we have this week, Buccaneers are going to Carolina.
Bucks.
I have Carolina winning that.
Yep, Carolina will get the win.
Washington's coming to Tampa.
Yep, we think we said Washington.
Washington's winning that. Bucks are beating the Giants in New York.
Yep.
49ers are losing to Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay.
Yep.
The Panthers are sweeping the division, or not division, sweeping the
Bucks, yep.
Yep. The Saints are sweeping them as well.
Yep.
Buccaneers at Baltimore. We said the Ravens are pulling that off, right?
Yes, we did.
Buccaneers in Dallas. I think I said Dallas is winning that.
I think we both said Dallas, yep.
And then Atlanta in Tampa. I don't see Tampa's... Oh, actually, Atlanta won last time. We like to go 1-1 with Tampa, but at the same time, Atlanta might be in the talk for the playoffs at that time.
Let's go Fitzmagic. It's Fitzmagic, dude. He'll just come and even if the Falcons are playing for a playoff game, he'll somehow come out and just throw 6 touchdowns.
Falcons always go 1-1 against Tampa, so
Tampa gets that last one.
I think Tampa gets that last one.
Yep.
So they're winning, 2 or 3 more? Puts in the best 5 or 6 wins.
Yep.
So, yeah, Tampa, you got weapons, just don't have enough to fill in the holes.
Yep. So now, here we go. Your team, bro. I'll give you the floor, bro, with the Falcons.
Just under 5. I mean, I could go off about my team forever, but just under 500, 3-4 Atlanta Falcons. Coming into this year, again, if you read my thing, I would have told you Atlanta's going to have a top 5 defense. Going to be great. We come out, we have lost Deion Jones, we've lost Keanu Neal, we have lost Ricardo Allen. Right there are our 3 best defensive players. We have also lost Pat McKinley. We haven't lost him, but he's injured. We have Grady Jarrett just came back from injury. Trufant's been dealing with some kinks. He's still playing, but he's still dealing with them. And I don't remember his name right now, but we have one other big defensive player that's out injured right now. I think Campbell just got injured as well. Vic Beasley's been, I think, personally, Vic Beasley's showing like he might be a bust. He had that one big year, but he's not getting to the quarterback enough.
Yes.
And we don't have Dontari Poe anymore because he's a Panther now. So our defense is taking too many blows to pull off a big run. And then I said this year I was swearing up and down, our offense isn't going to go anywhere until Steve Sarkisian is fired. It just goes to show, what is the NFL? All of a sudden, Atlanta, it's just like what happened with Kyle Shanahan. It's not necessarily the offensive coordinator. It's just a new system, new coach. It takes Matt Ryan some time to get comfortable. I said this about Kyle Shanahan. The Atlanta Falcons play the best offense when you give Matt Ryan the control, when you give him the power. I think next to Peyton Manning only, he is the best field general that has played in the last 10 years. I'm not saying he's the most athletic. I'm not saying he's the best arm. I'm not even saying he's the best decision-making. But he knows how to run a game. He's smart. He knows how to call audibles. He knows how to call play his way. And the 2-minute drill, Matt Ryan is deadly.
Yeah.
It's when plays are getting scripted and when we kind of get in a rut and we're trying to run the ball too much, or when we're forcing the ball to Julio in triple coverage, and then sometimes in red zone it seems like we fall a little short. It's simple things like this. But we have Calvin Ridley, who's a rookie, who's, I'm telling you, 3 years, he will be in the top 3 receivers in the conversation. Calvin Ridley will be a stud. I said that about Julio, and I was right. Calvin Ridley's going to be the same way. Mohamed Sanu is a fantastic possession receiver. He gets the first downs when we need him. Austin Hooper's the same way at tight end. We have Devontae Freeman, who's going to be coming back soon, who just got this big contract, and Tevin Coleman. I think those two together are arguably the 2 best running back duos in the league. And then our offensive line is a little shoddy. We have first-round pick on offensive line. We have Alex Mack, who, Alex Mack, come on, he's the best center in the league. We have some players on offensive line, but just all together, it just doesn't seem to be working as well. Offensive line is a little weaker. Matt Ryan gets hit some.
Yep.
But, we don't throw a lot of turnovers. Our problem is our defense. We click well on offense. Our defense, Atlanta has the weapons, I think, next year, if we're healthy, to go deep again. But it's just, we got to wait until then. I just don't want to wait another year. But I think Atlanta, for the first time in 4 years, is not going to make the playoffs.
Okay.
So, looking at the schedules now, this week we're in Washington. I'm going to that game. Woot woot. I think we're not in agreement on that one, right?
Washington gets the win.
I say Atlanta wins. I'll be at that game. So, if we lose, my soul will be crushed. Then we have the Falcons going to Cleveland. I said that the Falcons lose this game. I said this earlier.
I think I said Falcons win.
I said this earlier. Falcons love to lose games we shouldn't, and Cleveland is that game.
Okay.
Dallas comes to Atlanta. I think Atlanta wins that.
Yep.
Atlanta's in New Orleans.
In New Orleans.
And New Orleans beat us in Atlanta. See, in the NFC South, Atlanta doesn't get swept. We always go 1-1 with every team in the division. And I think it's going to be the same thing this year.
Okay.
I think we pull it off in New Orleans.
Okay.
Baltimore and Atlanta. That game could go either way.
I think we said Atlanta gets the dub.
I think Atlanta gets the dub. Baltimore just doesn't have the firepower, I think, to get it across. I just don't think Joe Flacco can go toe-to-toe with Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Atlanta and Green Bay. I said earlier, Atlanta is Green Bay's kryptonite. Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers cannot pull it off against Atlanta. It doesn't matter where they're playing.
Okay.
You disagreed with me on that, but that's how I feel from watching my team. Arizona against Atlanta. We already lost to Cleveland. I don't think we're going to lose to Arizona as well. We're not going to lose to both of them. It's going to be either or. I think Cleveland's going to be the game we lose. Atlanta in Carolina.
Did they lose already to them?
No, we beat Carolina, so therefore Carolina will beat us.
Will win.
Yes. And then Atlanta in Tampa, where we will lose again. So losing those last 2 games, I think, are going to really hurt us. And I think will put us at 10-6 or
Like
9-7.
9-7.
One of the two. I can see us going 10-6 and missing on the playoffs because of tiebreakers and stuff.
Yep.
Moving on to
The Carolina Panthers.
5-2 Carolina Panthers. Moving on to my two most despised teams in the league. So try not to let my bias show.
Oh, come on, dude. You think these are the Saints and the Panthers are the two most overrated teams in the NFL?
I'm not saying overrated.
You said overrated.
Panthers
times.
are overrated. I think that, as much as I hate the Saints, Drew Brees is better than Brady. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
He needs an MVP, though. That guy. I mean, not to cement like his legacy, because I think without MVP, he's still one of the better quarterbacks of all time.
I do not want to see him raise another trophy. I hate the New Orleans organization. I think they're dirty players. We're talking about Carolina, though. So, I hate Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton is, I said earlier about Colin Kaepernick, I think he fits all those qualities, just slightly above all of that. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I think that, I don't know, man. I think that Chris McCaffrey is a good dual threat running back. I think he's one of the better dual. I mean, we didn't. The thing was, like, we didn't even talk about Christian McCaffrey when it comes to like top 10 running backs. I think he is.
He's also the only white running back that actually sees the field.
Okay, let's not even talk about race and that kind of stuff, dude. If
I think it is interesting.
It is interesting. If you're a good running back, you're a good running back, no matter what your skin color is. But I think that is interesting. But to me, that like skin color doesn't really matter.
I completely agree, 100%.
Yeah, but with that, and then like you thought. Who was the first round draft? Denarius Moore? No, not Denarius Moore. It was something more out of Maryland that they drafted. Thought he'd be good, but I don't think he's been showing the field. And then Greg Olsen comes back. He has a couple good games, but then he gets hurt again. And I think this week he's coming back. And then you have that defense. I mean, with Luke Kuechly, I'm pretty sure he got hurt at least once, maybe for a game or two, but then he came back. I think with that defense, if you have Luke Kuechly at the beginning, like in that middle of that defense, I think they can do well. Cam Newton, I think is a good quarterback, but he's not a consistent quarterback. That's the thing. Like he can have really good games where he just runs the ball. I think he's a better, like he's a runner, but I don't want to like compare him to Michael Vick, but he's a better passer. I think he has a better arm. He has a stronger arm than he does.
Michael Vick has a stronger arm. Cam Newton has a more accurate arm.
Okay, I can see that too. I still don't think Newton is accurate, but he's more accurate than Vick. Okay, I just think that he just doesn't have the weapons around him right now. I mean, he had Kelvin Benjamin. He did pretty well with him when they went to the Super Bowl, and so he just needs more weapons.
Look at Kelvin Benjamin in Buffalo. He ain't doing anything.
Oh, no, he's not, dude. He had one good catch against New England last night. But, yeah, dude, I think that Panthers will get the 5th seed most likely. I think.
The 5th seed?
Yeah, the 5th seed, not the 6th seed.
All right.
Because, I mean, they're probably... I think they could go 11-5. That's what I'm thinking. But
let's see how it turns out. Tampa Bay and Carolina. We had Carolina winning that.
Yep.
Carolina in Pittsburgh. We have Pittsburgh winning that.
Yep.
Carolina in Detroit. This game could literally go either way. It all depends.
I had Carolina winning at least.
It all depends if Detroit decides to show up. I think that this could be a very field goal heavy game. They both have great field goal kickers. I feel like they'll have trouble in the red zone. Both teams will.
63-yard field goal by Gano earlier in the season. That was amazing.
Yeah, it sucked. So, I think I had the Lions pulling that one off.
Okay.
Seattle in Carolina. I think just because it's in Carolina, Carolina pulls it off.
Yep.
Panthers in Tampa. Panthers win.
Yep.
Panthers in Cleveland. Panthers win.
Yep.
You agree?
Yeah, I do agree.
Saints in Carolina.
I want to say Saints get the W. I like the Saints. Just better than them. I think their defense is showing a little bit more just toughness.
This is another one of those games, though, where they see each other in 2 weeks. But the thing is, Saints are home the second time around. So
Saints get that win the second time around.
Sweep it?
Yep.
Okay, and then Falcons in Carolina. I said Falcons were losing that.
Yep.
So they
lose 3. So that means they go 11-5.
Yeah, I guess so.
So they get that 5th seed.
Yeah, I guess so. Great. It'll be a fun playoff time.
Oh, dude, it will. All right, now let's go to the Saints right now.
New Orleans Saints.
And the Saints
6-1.
Do you think right now? I mean, come on, dude. They play the Rams this weekend, and that is going to be Not like if they lose, they'll go downhill.
I think this is going to really show
like
if I'm right about the Saints or not. If they're for real or if they're for fake.
I think they're for real, dude. Come on, man. Their offense has been on fire the past couple weeks, and that defense has been showing a little bit more toughness.
What they've done right now, they lost to Tampa Bay week 1. Tampa Bay put up 48 points.
Week 1.
Still.
Week 1. Come on.
It still shows weaknesses in the team if you can execute them. Then they almost tied to Cleveland week 2, 21-18. Or not tied. They almost lost though. If Cleveland,
Cleveland missed a field goal.
Cleveland missed a field goal, and then I think Tyrod made a mistake or something. And Cleveland, I watched that game. Cleveland should have won it. Saints should have started 0-2. Then Atlanta and New Orleans went into overtime. New Orleans won 43-37, but I said it when the game started. The game was decided by the coin toss because NFL rules are garbage, and neither one of our defense was stopping anything. The winner of that coin toss won the game, and they just happened to win the coin toss.
The thing is with the overtime, the fact that they shortened it to 10 minutes, I don't like it.
The overtime
they
was
had to
horrible.
have 15 minutes.
It's terrible.
Or could it be like
if the first team scores a touchdown, the other team should at least get a chance.
Or could it be like college, where they bring it? Maybe they'll bring it farther back, but not to the 30 or 25 like college does. But at least maybe give it to them right at midfield at the 50, and then see what they can do. I think that'd be cool.
Anyway,
to see that.
They could have very easily started 0-3. They probably should have, the way those games are going, because I watched all 3 of those games.
Yeah.
And I thought the Saints should have lost all 3 of them. The Saints beat the Giants.
Yep.
They deserve that win. They beat the Redskins. They deserve that win.
Yep.
The Ravens and Saints, I think that the Ravens did something stupid that they should have won, but they didn't. Oh, it was the missed extra point by Justin Tucker. His first ever career missed extra point. The most accurate kicker in the NFL history.
That face, though.
A game-winning extra point.
That face, though.
A game-winning extra point. That's another game the Saints maybe should have lost. They would have been decided by overtime again, probably by the coin toss.
No, they would have won in overtime, I think. I think if Flacco would have gotten the ball first.
The Ravens were looking really good that game.
Okay.
Looking at this, they beat the Vikings 30-20, sure. But honestly, I don't think they earned that 6-1 record, and I don't think they will win the division, sure, but I don't think that they will go deep in the playoffs because this team is not as good as they look. That's why that they will lose to the Rams this week in their own home.
Okay.
The Saints then go to Cincinnati. I will see them winning that. Philly comes to New Orleans.
I think I have Philly winning.
That'll be
I
a good
have
game.
New Orleans winning.
I think I have New Orleans winning that as well. Although I could very well see Philly pulling out the stops on that one.
I can see that.
Coming with the crusher. Atlanta comes to New Orleans. I don't see them going 2-0 against us. We're going to go 1-1. I see them winning that as well.
Yeah.
The Saints beat Dallas in Dallas.
Yep.
Saints beat Tampa in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Saints beat the Panthers both times, right?
Yep.
And then, so the Saints at Carolina.
Yeah.
You have them winning. Then Pittsburgh in New Orleans.
Pittsburgh loses. Thank you. Pittsburgh loses.
I don't remember talking about this game for some reason. This could be another game that could go either way. 2 of the higher quarterbacks at the time going on. Michael Thomas versus AB, I think, could go either way. I think that, I want to see the Steelers pull it out, so that's what I'm going to say. And then they'll beat the Panthers again. So
I have them losing one game. I have them losing
12-4, 11-5-ish. I think that's going to give them the division, though.
Yeah, and they'll get... So that'll put them at the 2nd seed still, though.
So. Yeah. So... It's about time for us to close this out.
Yeah, definitely.
We have gone on about an hour longer than we wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
Just goes to show we need more than 2 minutes talking about Lacey Voice.
Yeah.
But we will do this more often. Probably do this about 3 more times throughout the season. Definitely do a playoff.
Yeah, playoffs and right before Super Bowl. Yep.
We'll probably do another one before playoffs, probably about 3/4 of the way in.
Yep, sometime in the spring we'll probably do it right before the draft, too.
Probably around Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Probably do another one.
Yep.
So, come in, tune in. Hopefully we can professionalize this up a little bit. Next one will be a lot shorter because there'll be a lot less predictions because we did that now.
Yeah.
We might revisit some of these predictions, but we'll be talking a lot more about how these teams have been playing moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, real quick, Super Bowl prediction. Go.
Super Bowl prediction. Oh, gosh. Rams make the Super Bowl, and... All right, man. I really, I want to... All right, just, since you just threw it at me, I'll just say Rams-Patriots, and Rams get the win.
Okay. Rams Chargers, LA Super Bowl, Rams win it all.
All right, well, bold prediction. All right.
Thank you for tuning in. I've been Brandon.
Yep, and I'm Justin.
Have a good night, Bridgewater.
All right.